Hey, how you doing? This is SEIJIHITO here to bring you another live stream, and as titled, it is called "The World That We Live In." So we're going to be looking at a variety of videos. But before we get started, we're going to look at a few things. Right, number one, we're going to look and go over this comment here, and we're going to look at two videos that are in a sense associated and will be paired up with this. Right. So the one brother here, let me pull this up for myself. He said this: as a father, Muganlor said, exactly 3 years ago, I was attacked by mothers on Facebook because I stated how easy it is to stay home and raise kids. I'm self employed and I'm home mostly. So I raised my daughter as a full time single father. Bruh. When my daughter was much younger at the time, I wake up and prepare breakfast and pack her lunch in the morning, drop her at her private school, then head to the gym for an hour, come home and shower, then work scheduling clients, shoots at the studio, and ship customer shirts. Then go home and work on YouTube content. Take a lunch break at 12 p.m. Finally, take a nap at 12:30 to 1:30. It's time to pick my daughter up at around 2:45 and then bring her home. Help with her homework. While she is doing homework, I'm cooking dinner. My daughter is done homework, and now it's time for her to take a bath while I'm cooking. Dinner is ready by the time she's done. Once she's finished dinner, I spend time with her or she go play in the room before bed. Then I chill and I work on animation or Venus Orion comics or sometimes play a game before bed. That's it. Rinse and repeat. That's not counting the task like taking out the trash and other tasks that men typically do. When I told those mothers on Facebook that I'm trying to understand where the difficulty comes in, your kids are in school for 8 hours. So what in the world are you doing with your time? Question mark. These women were stay-at-home moms. They accuse me of mother shaming. So you know how it goes. Yo, Bashida, what's up? So again, I wanna just note, without all of the other things that you will normally have women add in, it's like, oh, but we go through postpartum and we go through hormonal and we're not talking about none of that. We're not talking about contractions, carrying a kid for 9 months. We're just talking about the kid is already out. You're being a stay-at-home parent, and this is what you got to do. Right. Right there is equal footing. Now, of course, to make it uneven and to make it lopsided so that women can just say whatever, you can add in the hormones and carrying and all this other type of stuff. That's great, cool, whatever. The main argument that this black father is saying that, hey, I'm a single father. There's no woman in the picture, right? He's a single father. He's taking care of his daughter. He's putting her through private school. Private school costs money, just in case people don't even understand what that is. Private school costs money, right? On top of him taking care of the house and home and also working directly from home as well as taking care of the child at home, right? So he's doing every single thing. There is not a woman in sight. And a simple thing that he stated as a single parent, he's like, yo, I don't understand what's the difficulty that a lot of women, talk about when it deals with, raising kids and being a stay-at-home mother and all these other types of things. But to further put this into a little bit of context, right? We're going to look at two videos here. And it started to become a little bit of an argument a little bit later on, but let's just start with the first video.
Dad Chronicles. If a stay-at-home mom tries to convince you that her job is hard, no it isn't. I'm a stay-at-home dad of 5 children, all 7 years old and under, and my life is a vacation. In addition, my kids are homeschooled, so they're here 24/7. I also do all the man work, all the house and car maintenance, taking out the trash, etc., etc. I'm almost 37 years old and I've had almost every single job there is. Culinary industry, construction, destruction, white collar, warehouse jobs, delivery jobs. I worked at a poultry plant one time and my job was to stand there for 10 or 12 hours on an assembly line cutting chicken throats with a poncho on. You have any idea how boring that is? Compared to every single one of these jobs, my life now is a vacation. I have a list of things I want to get done that day, and besides that, I get to do whatever I want. I don't understand how some of these women have 1, 2, maybe 3 kids, who more often than not have been gone at public school most of the day, chuck their kids like they're cornhole bean bags at their overworked husbands as soon as they walk in the door or tell them to do it around the house. What the f have you been doing all day, bro? Some men like to do all that when they come home, and that's cool, but you gotta understand when you're being taken advantage of. Then on top of that, they won't even let them crack most of the time. And that right there is just plain unacceptable. Hold on real quick. I want you guys to listen to something. If your turkey doesn't sound like that or it's not this juicy, you didn't do it right. Ladies, just streamline your day and do your job. Leave that man alone and let him crack. It's that easy. No need to overcomplicate things. Hurry and get me to 50K before my balls start clacking against my ankles.
Right. So you heard the guy here, right? Stay at home dad, right? But on top of that, he listed before he was doing the stay at home, he's worked all these other, types of jobs. So in comparison to what he's worked and what he initially had to do, he was like, hey, being a stay at home dad is actually pretty easy. All you have to do is go through a list, make a list, itinerary, and this is what you do every single day: rinse, wash, and repeat. And you know what it is that you got to do, and your day is made a whole lot easier, right? And that's clearly what he stated. And then on top of that, he also stated that, hey, every once in a while, like, hey, if people want to happen to do some stuff, let's happen to do some stuff. But the one thing I really want to point out that he stated, he said some of these women. That's going to be very important, because within the next video, you're going to hear a woman give a response, right? So again, I just want to preface, he said some of these women. He didn't say all women. He didn't say majority of these women. He didn't say all of these stay-at-home moms out here. He said some of these women, right? So now let's go into the response.
Chronicles. No need to overcomplicate things.
I know we don't know each other, but I'm Kendall, and I'm here to your day right up.
Ooh.
See, I'm not a mom, so I have no idea what it's like to be a mother.
Excuse my pardon. What did you say? Apple cider vinegar.
Over 85% of consumer purchases are driven by women, specifically stay-at-home moms.
And who's buying it, Kendall? Ketchup.
I went through your profile and took notes about every single consumer brand that you have worked with and have sent them messages letting them know that one of the influencers that they work with just came online to all over their most valuable audience.
No, I didn't. Just the ones that were taking advantage. Soy sauce.
And I would also encourage my audience to go ahead and tag all of those consumer brands in the comments of this video over and over and over again, just so we can make sure that they're aware of the kind of piece of influencer they are associating their brand name with.
That sounds illegal. Is it illegal? Gochujang paste. So to summarize so far, my video, which had all to do with you have no credited authority, no experience, you're not a parent, offended you, and now you're trying to starve my 5 children and or cause instability in their home, even though you make yourself out to be such a humanitarian. Okay.
I especially want to make sure that everyone tags both Hexclad and Ninja, because those are the 2 most prominent brands that have tied their brand with yours.
I've never been affiliated with Ninja. I did 2 gifting videos for Hexclad, and I got my gifts. Looks like you're an expert in jack shit. Onion powder.
But something tells me it's not going to take very long, buddy, before they won't be doing that any longer.
Something tells me, buddy, that they're not going to be doing that any longer. You didn't do anything. Molasses. You literally just made me more money on TikTok. My turkey video was tapped out at about 600,000 views. What's it at now? Like 2 million? Garlic powder.
Have the day you deserve, asshole.
Oh, God! Not the day I deserve! Anything but that! Korean barbecue gochujang seasoning. Turn the heat on low and meld that together. The recipe will be in the comments. Don't you have enough to deal with up your husband's military career? Stupid. Brown sugar. You can't cancel me, Kendall. You can't cancel somebody who doesn't care. You really said I'm not a mother, got in front of a camera, and proceeded to about something you know nothing about. Holy insufferable. You had no argument, no rebuttal, just tried to cancel me and starve my children. And you only made me stronger. Shout out to my man Chisha Zed and King T on YouTube. They both have W takes on this. Go show them some love and support.
So we saw that, right? So the woman decided that she wanted to pull up to the scene. And again, she stated that she don't have no kids. She is not a parent at all. She's not even watching children within her family. She's not even watching neighbors' kids. Nothing at all. And she decided to take it upon herself to be some type of social justice warrior and speak directly for all of the stay-at-home moms directly out there because she feels from her emotional side that this guy is automatically attacking women. And he didn't. He said some of these women, some of these stay-at-home moms. He didn't say all women. He didn't even say the majority. He said some of these women. But yet she took it and wanted to broad brush it and make it seem as though that he was talking about every single woman out here that's the stay-at-home mom and everything of the sort. Again, completely crazy and nonsensical. Her whole take on this makes zero sense at all because she doesn't even have a stance at all. She, like he said before, there is no rebuttal. She didn't say anything. She was just like, hey, I got this large amount of followers, all of these women, we know how we feel about men. What I need you to do is go out there and to make sure that none of these corporations want to specifically work with this dude at all because we don't like what he said as women emotionally. That's it. That's all she did. And again, like I said before, it makes zero at all. You got online, you wanted to say this. You could have easily, if you wanted to, made a rebuttal. You could have even tried to make a point by way of using women in your family. Oh, I watched, my mother. I watched the sister. I watched an aunt or women that I know of that are friends or coworkers. You could have probably tried to substantiate a point that way. Didn't even want to sit up there and do that. You just specifically got up here because you didn't like the fact that the guy, for all intents and purposes, just like the post that I read, told the truth from their experience, from their side of the situation, being men and raising kids, that, hey, comparable to the work that we normally do as guys, being a stay-at-home father is actually easy. Being a stay-at-home parent is actually easy. We don't understand what the complaint is. And now somehow, some way, that's some type of, hatred, towards women. But she has another rebuttal. Color me surprised.
Have angered certain parts of the manosphere yet again. Oh no. Only this time, it's not for something I said recently. It's for something I said nearly a month ago, because that's how long it took this moron to craft a rebuttal. And now all of his equally stupid followers are coming to the conclusion that this is a new beef, and therefore I must have deleted my video about him because they can't find it at the top of my page. So real fast, just to help them out, the video is still there, friends. You just have to scroll a while because your boy is slower in more than one way, okay? Anyway, since they're begging for my attention so desperately, I thought I'd go ahead and respond. So let's just dive right in, shall we?
You're not a parent. You really said I'm not a mother.
You're right. I'm not a mom, which means I can say the sentence, I don't have kids. Some other fun sentences that I can say are, I don't have kids that I've abandoned. I don't have kids that are being raised by other men. I don't have kids that don't even live under my roof. I don't have kids that had to come online and out me in a public comment section just to get any amount of attention from me. I don't have kids whose hearts were broken because I decided to be a real piece of shit online. For those of his followers too stupid to pick up on the subtext of what I was saying, he can't say any of those sentences because those are all things that he has done.
Excuse my pardon. What did you say?
Brother, you had the option of not including footage of you digging in your dirty ear canal while wearing the gloves that you're subsequently going to touch people's food with. You realize that, right? Yuck. Over 85% of consumer purchases are driven by women.
And who's buying it, Kendall?
The women are buying it. Should I have said it slower for you? Or, in all seriousness, though, I am aware of the fact that you're just trying to do that same misogynistic trope, implying that stay-at-home moms are just spending their husband's money, right? That it's not their money to spend, which, first of all, bold assertion for a stay-at-home dad to make. But also, no, that's not how that works. It's also her money. Just like they are also his kids, even when she's doing the majority of the labor taking care of them, it's also her money, even though he's the one doing that work, because that's how partnerships work, man. But I do want to point out that just by making that comment, you have now already proved my point for me that you weren't just talking about certain stay-at-home moms or only the ones, right? You were talking about all of them because you just implied that stay-at-home moms don't have their own money, that it's not theirs, that it's not an equal partnership. Once again, you made a misogynistic comment that impacts all stay-at-home moms. Just like when in your original video, you said that stay-at-home moms owe their husbands anytime they want. So once again, you're full of shit when you try to do the cop-out of, I didn't mean it for all stay-at-home moms. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And I would also encourage my audience to go ahead and tag all of those consumer brands just so we can make sure that they're aware of the kind of piece of influencer they are associating their brand name with.
That sounds illegal. Is it illegal?
Does it sound illegal, man? Please, please, for the love of God, please make a video detailing exactly what you think is illegal about what I did and what law you think it breaks. I would be so delighted if you did that, man. That would be unimaginably hilarious to me.
You have no credited authority.
Credited authority. I'm pretty sure you meant to say that I had no credibility, is my assumption. That's the closest that I can come up with. But either way, I know that you know that I had credentials, that I have credibility on the topic of consumer marketing, which is what the video was about, because you had to specifically edit that part out of the video that you showed your audience. My video was not a debate with you about stay-at-home moms. My video was about consumer marketing and how stupid you are for tanking your own career as a content creator.
And now you're trying to starve my 5 children and or cause instability in their home.
There it is. I knew if you talked for long enough, you were definitely going to use your kids as a meat shield, because that is definitely your modus operandi. No one wants your kids to starve, dude, but that doesn't mean that people have to not respond when you run your mouth online and say things about other people. It is some truly, truly cowardly chicken behavior to run your mouth online, and then when people respond accordingly, fall back on, you're trying to starve my children out. No, dude, no.
I did 2 gifting videos for Hexclad, and I got my gifts.
Congrats on the pots and pans, I guess. What you don't seem to understand is that Hexclad sending you those couple of gifts, that was effectively your audition to prove to them that you deserve to be a longer-term, larger influencer for them, the kind that gets actual checks and not just a free pan. And you f***ed that up by coming online to the same exact account where you promoted their product and saying really shit things about the primary demographic that they want to reach. And like, yeah, I know that you're going to say that you don't care, and that's fine. That's fine. But at that point, to use your own argument, you are denying your children things. You should care that you fucked up your ability to make good money doing this content creation thing, because it impacts your kids. And I know that you're probably feeling real cocky right now because you brought up how you got 2 million views.
My turkey video was tapped out at about 600,000 views. What's it at now? Like 2 million?
Would maybe be impressive to me if that weren't the number of views that I've gotten on my video about you. But congrats on the 2 mil. You better make that check last, bud, because rage baiting has diminishing returns. Meanwhile, you've ruined your ability to get brand deals. That's what I was trying to point out to you, is that you are fucking up the bag, man. And come on, think of your kids. Won't they starve? Ah!
Okay.
Wow, excellent argument, man. Real compelling stuff.
Brown sugar.
Please tell me that that's not the same glove that you were digging in your dirty ear canal with.
Don't you have enough to deal with up your husband's military career? Stupid.
My husband's career is doing just fine, but I do think that it's interesting that all of you, not just you, but also all of your little defender sad boys that have likewise made videos, you all keep bringing up my husband's military service. By y'all's own standard, no experience, no opinion, right? That's the argument that y'all are making. No experience, no right to an opinion. You haven't the slightest idea what it's like to be either an active duty service member dealing with the stress of potentially having your life squandered by the demented moron in charge, or what it's like to be the spouse of an active duty service member right now and have to deal with the fear and anxiety of potentially losing your partner to a completely avoidable, illegal, and immoral war. So by your own standards, you don't get to have an opinion on that one, baby.
You can't cancel me, Kendall. You can't cancel somebody who doesn't care.
You're right. Famously, the best way of demonstrating how little you care about something is to make an entire video about it nearly a month after it happened.
So I just want to point out a few things. I don't really care about the last part that she said, where, you know, military career and her husband and rah rah rah. I mean, that's a choice that he made. And on top of the fact you're talking about an immoral war and all this other type of stuff, well, you know, it's for all intents and purposes a white problem in a white situation. So yeah, you know, trying to say whatever, trying to make a stand, it doesn't make any type of sense, because at the end of the day, your population is control of that, you know, when it deals with the United States and everything of the sort. But again, the one main thing that she wanted to state, she was like, hey, I just wanted to use my platform in order to let Ninja and Hexclad basically know that the person that they've teamed up with is attacking, you know, the demographic of which that they are going directly after. So I decided to type in some information, right? Because a lot of women like to say that, you know, hey, we cook and we do this and we do that, right? So I wanted to know who makes up the majority of cooks. right? Just to be fair, because I don't want to be sexist, right? I don't want to be sexist. So I wanted to look this up. So let's take a look at what we found, right? It says that men make up the majority of professional cooks and chefs, accounting for roughly 58% to over 73% of the workforce in the United States, depending on a specific role, while women hold about 41.8% of general cook positions. They represent only 18.5 to 25% of professional chefs and 6% of head chefs in restaurant settings. Line cooks, 73.1% men, 26.9% women. Chefs, 74.8% men, 25.2% women. Restaurant cooks, 67% men, 33% female. Key findings. They said despite culinary schools graduating high numbers of women, roughly 5-4 against men, far fewer advanced to top roles, with women holding only 6% of head chefs or restaurant owner positions. Sector differences. Women are more prevalent in other areas of culinary industry, such as catering, where they run roughly 75% of the companies. Home and professional. While men dominate professional kitchens, women historically do the majority of cooking at home. Top roles. Research indicates that at top tier 4 to 5-star hotels, up to 98.5% of chefs are male. So again, when we look at this, other than it being quote unquote at home, right? But a lot of women sit up and say that they don't even cook anyway. Again, this is why we have fast food. This is why we got fast food. This is why they stay consistently in business, right? This is why the markets always have stuff on the shelves, right? Because if people were really cooking, then the stores would actually reflect that. The stores aren't reflecting that, but fast food is, right? So we can clearly see that if we're to look at the business of Hex, right? What do we think that they would really try to market their gear towards? Are they really going to try to market it towards women who don't really technically care about cookware, or are they going to market it towards the businesses, right? Like the hotels, like the restaurants, these places that can spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to potentially just get a contract specifically with them for 5 to 10 years. Which one would make more sense? I would think that they would go for the hotels and the businesses, right? For me, we're looking at this. The mothers, the stay-at-homes are an afterthought. They're looking at the main ones who have the money to automatically, hey, I'm going to just do a contract with you guys, right? I'm million, two, $3-4 million, bam, right there. Stay at home moms are not about to sit up there and just specifically have a contract with Hexclad, just specifically buying their stuff year in and year out. They're not doing that. They're not doing that, right? If they happen to see some other cookware that has like a bright, shiny, brand new color, they're going directly over there, even though it might be horrible or bad directly for cooking. So, like I said before, this woman has no type of argument at all about anything. She's just out there deciding that, oh, I see this dude out here talking. Let me, social justice my way into this and just basically mess up something. And then let me get all of my female followers to follow me and to jump directly on this bandwagon. And we could just sit up there and crush this guy and really teach him a lesson. That doesn't make any type of sense. That makes zero sense. All because he said some of the women out here. He didn't say majority. And again, throughout her whole statement in both videos, she tried to make it seem as though the guy said all women. He said some. He was very specific. He said some of these women out here. This is what I'll be talking about. This is the main thing that I've stated time and time again. If a guy basically says something very direct, some of these women, you have women interpret that as if you're specifically talking about them and all women. And again, you go back to the footage, he clearly said some of these women. That's crazy. That is diabolical in nature. Like I said, a lot of this stuff needs to be studied. It 100% needs to be studied. So now I can actually roll back to the comment section. What is up, Bushido? We got Sophie. What is going on? We got Jeffrey Rock. Somebody said this is not live. Actually, it is live because I'm clearly talking. We got Brand of Your World. What is up? We got Miss Shawnee in the building. What is going on? You said this is like the war with the Tiger King and the lady he battled with until he went to jail. You know, wait, did I see that? It's so long ago that I probably can't memory wise. I know who the Tiger King is, but I'm trying to remember that specific instance. It's very tough right now. The pandemic has done a lot to the human brain. Let me tell you something. Chris T, what is up? You said when I did restaurant work, every line cook and chef I had ever worked with was a guy. The waiters and food runners were a combination. Miss Griffith, what is up? What is up? What is up? D Money, what is happening? So yeah, like I said, this is why it gets so difficult to just have conversations when it deals with certain things. And again, I gave two examples. I gave one of a black male single father who is a stay-at-home father who does his own thing as a YouTube content creator and also as comic books and also making t-shirts and everything of the sort. And he specifically went on Facebook and he was like, he doesn't really understand what the hoopla is about when women say that it is tough being a stay-at-home mom. That dude is a stay-at-home father. There is no woman helping him with anything. He's doing everything for his daughter, private school, taking care of the home, doing the stuff that men are supposed to do, and everything of the sort. But like I said, whenever it is that men specifically say that something is not difficult, you have other people out there that want to sit up there and make it an issue. Like, oh, you guys are just against women. You guys are just bad mouthing women. Nah, it's like, no, they're not. He's just saying it's like it's not difficult. It's like, I don't understand. Why would you get so offended, directly by that? Like I said, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, it's crazy work out here. It is crazy work. So let me go through the selection. So now I guess we can go directly into the instance of the whole thing of Chud the Builder yet again. So we're going to have this individual here. But before we, in a sense, get to this individual, let me just bring up some information ahead of time here. Let me see if I can specifically get that back. Yeah. So the person that we're dealing with is here, right? Chetty Nash is of Congolese and Jewish ancestry. He is a content creator, influencer, and rapper known for his commentary on hip hop culture, particularly related to Little Durk, right? So we know that this guy is African, right? But when you look at his hair and everything of the sort, that's not really how it seems. And then they also stated that he's a rapper. That's not what they normally do over there in Africa, right? So which means he's more than likely in the United States. So let's see what this Congolese man had to say to Black Americans when it deals with Chud the Builder.
People pissed off and in their feelings because I support this man. I support him because he's showing you how cowardice actually works. See, there's a couple of things to point out. Number one, y'all ain't did it, but y'all will ride through, get your guns, risk your freedom, take yourself away from your family to kill a person who looks exactly like you, dresses like you, and talks like you. That's the first reason. The second reason, I want more. I want more Chud the Builders to walk around every city in America and do the exact same. And some of y'all will get mad and you probably fuming and foaming out the mouth. Why though, Nash? Why would you trying to start a civil war? Has he harmed anybody? No. Has he reacted to people trying to do something to him? Yes. But he's showing how bitch made a lot of you cats are, because I get threats all the time where I see punk like this. And that happens every day because I speak about that I feel like speaking about. And instead of intellectually debating me, you can't.
So let me just stop right there, right? So this Congolese man main point is that for his example, he's talking about very specific Black men, but he wants to generalize all Black men, right? So he's talking about a lot of the crash outs and the ones that like to, run their mouths directly online, right? But he wants to generalize that talking point directly to mean all Black men directly out here. On top of the fact of him saying that he wants a whole bunch of Chud the Builders directly out and amongst every single state and city, because it's going to show how weak black men are. Let me get this very straight. Let me make this very clear. Chud the Builder decides to make content where he uses words, inflammatory words and statements, in order to antagonize black people specifically. He goes directly into areas that are more than likely multicultural, and he proceeds to go up to black people that he knows is not really going to sit up there and do pretty much anything, because they're not really on that type of time. They're just going from their daily day, just doing whatever it is that they normally do. Chud the Builder specifically could opt to go into communities where the police don't even want to go. He knows where those communities are across the United States. He opts to go into safety nets. He opts to go into areas where he knows that if anything happens, the police will sit up there and respond or be responsive, and that he'll be able to automatically play and be victim at the end of the day. This is also why, which he doesn't want to note as a Congolese man, why Chud the Builder also has mace, and he also carries a gun directly on him. Now, think to yourself, if you believe in freedom of, right, which means speech, but it doesn't also mean freedom of consequences, why would you then, if you are so for freedom of speech, why would you be afraid? Because Chud the Builder going on no potentiality of what can sit up there and happen. How I know this is also due to the fact of going to his Go Send Go, which he had directly up there because he got deplatformed and everything of the sort. You had a white male that sent, I think it was probably about like $500. And he specifically wrote, and this is me paraphrasing, he specifically wrote to Chud the Builder. He was like, hey, man, I really enjoy and love the work that you sit up there and do. You're really talking about, freedom of the speech, and these chimps be chimping, da, 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 da. And he was like, you're really going to need protection and an army directly out there, and, can't offer much, but we're willing to sit up there and be an army, directly for you, and come out there, directly with you, because you're going to need protection, this, that, and the third. And all of this is, pro bono. It's free. It's like, you don't have to give us anything, but we'll give you everything. So even his followers know that freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequences. Because if you go through life and you decide that you want to antagonize people, you can't be surprised if people later on are going to soon enough have a response to you trying to antagonize them or goad them into a certain type of action. Like this is what I'll be talking about. And he's the main type of person that's, in a sense, trying to have black Americans be the causation of a type of race war. And this is what I talked about before. For the longest time possible, you didn't have people talking about, oh, there's a race war coming. There's a race war coming, right? And black Americans were like, all right, well, that could be, but we're not going to be the causation of that. We're not going to be the ones that you're going to look to and basically point the finger at history and be like, hey, this is the reason why the United States went into this war is because of black people. No. Black people are like, you know what? Y'all done caught us up in way too many things. Y'all done blamed us for way too many things. This is at least going to be that one thing that we can foresee that has already been foretold. We're going to opt out of that destiny. We're not about to sit up there and do this. So again, this is why when you look at certain laws and different things that are being passed, I think, what was it, down there in Memphis, down south, where they broke up the voting area of a predominantly black area, and they wanted to split that and all this other stuff. This is, again, the ways of which that they've always tried to have black people move emotionally. They can't do it because black people are emotionally intelligent. We realize and we understand, oh, y'all trying to do the same exact thing y'all did before. Y'all trying to play these exact same games y'all played historically. We're not falling for that. So we're ignoring it. We're bypassing it. We're moving it around. So now what they're doing, they were like, okay, well, we're going to go to something glaring. We're going to go to something that's jarring. We're going to really sit up there and get you. Now we're going to go to the political landscape, right? So I want people to pay attention. All the times that it basically, what people basically said that when it deals with the laws, rules and regulations, it takes months, it takes years for laws and different things to get passed. But all of a sudden, when it dealt with them trying to break up this predominantly black area, they did that in an instant. It was almost like overnight. They broke up that district into 3 separate spaces. And they did that to basically let black people know, like, hey, your vote is not important. We don't actually care about your vote. Your vote doesn't mean anything at all. Right. I'm going to get into another, clip that's going to, matter of fact, let me see if I can pull that directly in here, because there was a small conversation. This is a snippet of a small conversation. We're going to come back to this video, but there's a snippet of a small conversation that was being had specifically when it dealt with the voting, and this is what I want to highlight here.
Well, like, why don't black people vote more? To Bakari's point, this is fucking why. This is why. Yeah. I wanted to hear Bakari's answer. What do you tell people like Charlemagne when they say that? Because I'm not going to lie, folks, I'm having a difficult time making the case right now.
It's
because
impossible.
when I go to the shop, when I'm out in my community and I hear that pushback that like they're not going to let us have elections, it doesn't matter, even if we vote, our votes don't count. I'm really struggling to come up with the counter.
Right. And this is all stemming from what just recently happened. And a lot of people time and time again told black people like, hey, your vote matters. Your vote counts. Like, you need to go out there and vote and do this and do that and da. It don't matter. You're working in a system that was not specifically built for you, by you, or to benefit you at all. The system is specifically built in order to benefit other people, and that is what has clearly been shown. If there is no other way to basically speak to Black Americans to let them know that, in a sense, if they really want to do something, they can sit up there and do it, that should be the greatest example. And then they're trying to use that to also spread that throughout the rest of the United States. But like I said, it'd be like that. But I try to tell black folks 99 different times, I'm like, hey, these folks don't actually really care about you. It don't matter if you got friends, family, coworkers, and whatever it is that you want to sit up there and list. At the end of the day, this is their power structure, right? This is what they benefit directly off of. So if they want to change stuff overnight, they'll sit up there and do it. But if it deals with you wanting something directly from that system because of how it is that you were treated, how it is that you have been seen and deemed and criminalized, it's going to take time. They got to do studies. They got to do this. They got to do that. They didn't have to do a study in order to, break up that predominantly Black area directly overnight. Matter of fact, let me go into another piece of footage. Let me see. Do I have that clip directly in here? I don't. Oh, ain't that a little bit of something? All right, let me roll back real quick, because there is a nice clip going directly. Okay, maybe I do have it. Hold on, let me make sure. Because the picture that I'm thinking in my mind, yes, I already had it. So let's go to this one here. What? Let me pull them down. Pull that down here and go to this clip.
Y'all, we've been reporting on Tennessee congressional redistricting. Turn your volume up. I'm just going to leave this one right here.
To the sponsor, are you aware that Memphis is predominantly African American?
I am not.
So to my sponsor, who went to law school at the University of Memphis and lived there for 3 years, you're telling me you're not aware that Memphis is predominantly African American. Am I correct?
Senator Lamar, he's answered that. Next question, please.
Now you hear the old white folk up there, right? Like Senator Lamar, he's already answered the question. So continue to your next. You hear that, right? So he went to a school in Memphis for 3 years. For 3 years, and you didn't know that this is a predominantly Black area. That's like going into Detroit for 3 years. Somebody randomly white going into Detroit for 3 years, going to schools and having their kids there and everything, and they don't know that Detroit predominantly is Black. You can't make this stuff up. Let's get going.
It's a sponsor where that Shelby County is predominantly African American.
Senator Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm not aware.
Wow.
Senator Lamar.
Are you aware that Tennessee's 9th congressional district is the only majority African American congressional district in this state?
No, I have no knowledge of that.
So when you were drawing the lines, were you unaware or aware that you were slicing African American voters in Memphis, Tennessee into 3 parts?
Senator Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This proposed map divides Shelby County into 3 districts. It maximizes the Republican chances of carrying all 3 districts.
We're talking about it live on the political commentary show I host called ABC 24 This Week. We are live streaming this show for the first time on Friday.
You heard it first directly from that white dude. What'd he say? He was like, hey, we broke this. We broke up the sections that are predominantly black so that we can just maximize what it is that the Republicans can sit up there and do. So it doesn't matter how the black people there voted. It doesn't matter. They were still going to do what it is that they wanted to do at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how the black people voted. They still did what they wanted to do overnight. Overnight, they sat up there and did that. Woo! It is a beautiful time to sit up there and be alive. Like I said, I love it. I love it. And the main thing that is going to take place and happen is that, as I've stated before, the downfall of the society is not going to happen at the hands of Black Americans. It is not going to happen at the hands of Black Americans. These people that look just like him are going to be the main reason that this country ends up into a civil war, that the country, breaks up again, and, all this other type of state. This is, stuff. I had to paraphrase. But yeah, this is why. It's not going to be because, it's like a lot of Democrats want to say, it's because black people didn't come out there in droves. Everybody 100% didn't sit up there. It don't matter if 1,000% of black people came out there and vote. They're still going to do this. They made the rules. They can break the rules. Would a Judge Dredd sit up there and normally say, I am the law? Yeah, that's how it works. When you make the rules, you can do anything. And you're witnessing that at this moment in time. It doesn't matter about the vote. Nobody's going to be able to tell black people like, hey, your vote matters. No, it doesn't. I've been saying that for the longest time. No, it doesn't. Like I said, I even seen this. What was it back during Al Gore and John Kerry? Was it Al Gore and John Kerry? I forgot because I've repeated it so many times. You had Bush, I think Bush and Al Gore, and then Al Gore and John Kerry and all this other type of stuff. But inevitably what happened in a variety of those cases is that the popular vote is the main one that usually gets it, right? You got that, you basically got it down, it's pretty much over. And they were like, nah, we ain't playing by those games. We're about to sit up there and switch the rules. And they did that. So if they did it back then, what do you think that means that they can do now with a lot of the rules and the changings that they've decided to do that a lot of people are not aware of? Like I said, and if they can do this in one state, they can more than likely do this in a lot of other states. But like I said, it'd be like that. The only thing for, Black Americans to do is for those who are like-minded to pay attention and move accordingly. That is the best method to the madness, to the chaos that is directly out here. Because like I said, this is the end result that they want. They're trying to do any and everything in order to get some type of race war started, because the whatever wars that they're trying to have, Black Americans don't care. All of the stuff that they're doing with ICE and immigrants, Black Americans do not care. Right now, they're also on this whole thing of the hunting virus. I'm just going to say it, the hunt virus, whatever it is, right? The ship virus, right? They're trying to have a 2.0 version of the pandemic, right? Because that's the whole. Okay, it seems like the live stream is going to be moving a whole lot differently because I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff now. So dealing with, this is a side note, dealing with that whole virus on the cruise ship that quote unquote it comes from ICE and all this other type of stuff. They released all of those people, right, to go right back home, right back to their countries, or wherever it is that they're from, right? We got people in Georgia, we got people in New Jersey, we got people in Texas. We probably might even have some other people from the states that we don't know about, because maybe they decided that, hey, we want to go to this other country and then go to our actual destination, right? So this is now going to be a ticking time bomb to see what is going to happen. And I want to note to a lot of people that just like the pandemic, this is all taking place before summer. The moment in time that summer really started to hit, That's the moment in time that you started seeing everything moving on social media and by mainstream media, all mainstream media news reporting the exact same thing, putting out the exact same stories, saying the exact same words, giving you the exact same statistics. This is when all the doctors wanted to come out and doing all of this other stuff. So don't be too surprised. There is a nice potentiality that this is looking like a 2.0. That's all I'm saying. Right? Because when all else basically fails, we're going to make a lockdown. We're going to have something to sit up there and control the people. We're going to make sure that people can't go nowhere, that they can't budge, they can't do this, that they can't do that. So I want to sit up there and also note that this is another way for people to instill a type of fear. In order people get, antsy to work directly on people's, nervous systems, their immune systems, to stress them all the way out, especially if, there's a potentiality of another lockdown that may happen. Right. Which means that you're going to be directly at home, not being able to do much or whatnot or whatever. Like I gave people information about before in Australia, during the pandemic, it was illegal for people to really be outside of their homes. And that was crazy. I'm like, you can't be outside of your home. So if you wanted to be out, outside of your fence, no, you can't do that. You'll face a fine or jail time. You wanted to be in your backyard, you will face a fine or jail time. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy, the stuff that they were sitting up there doing. And that's why I reported on it, but people didn't want to pay attention. So, now a lot of things, a lot of laws, rules, and regulations have been passed in a variety of bills, of which everybody didn't sit up there and read. Because I know for a fact that I didn't sit up there and read thousands of pages. I know for a fact. So I know that there's a lot of stuff muddled in between, a lot of that stuff that is not going to be of the best interest of the American people. But, it'd be like that. Because the end result is this. You got folks out here that are willing to allow the country to fall just so that they could stand on top of another group. So you got the middle class and the poor whites that are willing to allow everything else to fall down just so that they can stand directly upon Black Americans. But people don't realize that the rain doesn't just fall in one direction. It also falls upwards. So whatever you think that you're standing directly upon, and you think that the water is just going to go in one direction, that water is going to come rushing right back up. And it's going to be worse than ever before. So like I said, y'all can keep playing these games. If y'all ain't pay attention to a lot of these storms, a lot of these floods and whatnot or whatever that's going on, hey, y'all can sit up there and keep playing these games if you want to. One way or another. The universe and nature is going to get you, or it's going to be a combination. Y'all going to sit up there and learn one way or another. But like I said, it'll be like that. But let's go back to the Congolese man, right?
Tell me I'ma die, you gonna kill me and all this shit. But the second most powerful reason why I support Chud is simple. Guys, because like this. See, what Chud is gonna force a lot of you guys to do is wonder about who else supports Chud. See, there used to be this thing we used to know as a collective. We don't fear the KKK because they got their mask on. We fear the KKK because the mask they come off, because they're your politicians, they're your store managers, they're your bank tellers, they're your bank managers, they're your politicians, they're your police, they're your firefighters. They're all of these people who are power players in the institutions, which will basically drastically make us go from the bull to the real shit. See, what Chud is going to force a lot of people to do is start collectively saying, I want this person to be deplatformed. So one day, Black people will wake up like y'all accuse Jewish people of doing and say, hey, if you support this, we don't support you, and cut them off financially. See, all the people who are still on the platforms that support this man and you're Black, you want to show how you really say Chud the Builder? You take your Black off of there instead of getting in my inbox and chimping out.
So, and you see what he decided to do at the last minute, right? And this is a Congolese man. So you see what he did at the last moment, right? He wanted to try to put the the ultra blackety black type thing at the last minute to make it seem like this was my real point about saying all that stuff in the beginning. Now that I got y'all attention, but then he did the same thing that Chud the Builder and the rest of them do. He was like, "Yeah, stop jumping out of my comment." See how they do that? And again, that's an African man, that's a Congolese man. But the funniest thing is, right? He is stuck directly in Black American business. He has basically modeled himself directly after Black American men, right? But yet, don't they got stuff going over there in the Congo, right? Didn't Leopold of Belgium set up there and just make a nice example out of a lot of y'all folks historically over there? Huh? Didn't King Leopold of Belgium do that? That's some crazy work. Y'all should really be having a whole bunch of energy towards the Belgians. They was cutting off hands and feet, legs, and everything. They were making examples in front of you, in front of the kids, letting them know, like, hey, when you grow up, I just want to let you know, if we're willing to do this to your parents because they not listening to us, what do you think is going to happen to you? If we don't really care about your parents and this is how we treat them, what do you think is going to happen to you? So you better straighten up while you still got all of your appendages still attached to you. That's what they did to the Congolese. So it's a little bit crazy to me how a Congolese man want to have all of this energy when it deals with American situations and problems and want to try to talk about this us, this we. I ain't French. I just want you to know I don't speak a lick of French, mon ami. Oui, mon ami. Je ne sais beaucoup. We don't speak French directly up out here. We are not the same. But this is what I be talking about with this cosplaying going on with a lot of these Africans and how it is that they want to sit up there and move when it deals with Black American spaces, situations, and problems and issues. But yet they don't want to get online and they don't want to talk about the stuff going on specifically in their community with their own people. Funny how that works. It's like, let me sit up there and talk about, Black Americans negatively because I know that I can sit up there and make money directly off of this, and I can cosplay, I can easily separate myself because me portraying myself as a Black American is the caricature, while the actual version of me is a proud Congolese man from Africa because I know my bloodline and where it is that I come from, my ancestry, and and all this other type of, like I said, this is the type of stuff that they be doing. This is the type of stuff that they be doing. And it's very easy for somebody like this to sit up there and say, well, if you don't sit up there and support it, what Black people need to do is just get up off of these platforms and this, that, and the third and whatnot or whatever. And I want to just say historically that it doesn't matter where it is that Black Americans are, you will always have somebody white minding your business. We had all of our own towns and cities directly in the United States, and them bad boys got burned down. There were massacres that happened around the United States in our towns and cities because they didn't want us to have those towns and cities. They were mad that we were able to be self-sufficient, that we were independent, that we didn't need anything from them, that we could actually be living independent and separate completely from them. They didn't like that. So what did they do? They made up lies. They came directly through, burned up those towns and cities. And what do people like him do? So like stop talking about the past. Why you guys keep talking? This is in the 2000s. It's 2026. Why don't you guys rebuild any of these things? Because it's going to be the exact same thing that's going to happen, but it's going to be far worse. Now, not saying that it can't sit up there and happen. You would have to again have like-minded people, right? You would have to have the same togetherness that was in a sense there. And that's the other part of the reason why I brought up the other two videos dealing with the voting and how it is that they're trying to quote unquote restructure and break apart, a lot of districts and things around the United States, specifically dealing with Black areas, because inevitably what's going to happen is that the more and more that they keep doing this, it will happen to force Black folks to be like, all right, we're going to have to put a lot of stuff to the side. And I keep telling people this. I'm like, your best bet, if you didn't want Black Americans to see eye to eye with one another, your best bet was to sit up there and just allow people to live amongst everybody else, right? Because when Black people living amongst everybody else as a quote unquote collective, so to say, Black Americans ain't worried about nothing. They'll be like, oh, everybody is everybody. Everybody is everything. We're all friends. We're all family. We're all God's children, right? It's that whole type of deal, which is not even factual. Because even living amongst people people will still be divided. Case in point, like the video, I think I might have brought you guys a video in a live stream, or maybe I might have just looked at it myself. But there was a guy who posted a video. He's in Atlanta, and he showed how the Koreans basically carved out their own little section. They got their own little nice size strip mall or whatever it is, and it's nothing but Koreans. All Korean everything. Korean restaurants, they got dining. I think they got some fashion. They got lawyers directly up there. They got money loans in there. Everything is straight Korean, but it's in Atlanta. So, like I said, this is how this works. How people come directly into the black community and say that, oh, the black community, there's really no money here. There's nothing in the black community, but yet somehow, some way they carve out something. They make something from black American dollars. The only reason that those Koreans are even there and they're able to even carve out something in Atlanta is because of black American dollars, because their families came here and it was like, we got the nail shops, we got the hair shops, we got the beauty supply stores, we got the maybe even like a massage parlor, whatever. They got all of these businesses, and then they came together as a group and then decided to do that. Right. So again, we're not really together, as a lot of people like to sit up there and say. But again, my main point is this, that inevitably what's going to happen is that this is going to force black Americans directly into the mentality of the old, where we're going to be like, we're going to have to put a lot of stuff to the side. Like, hey, we got disagreements, but there's a bigger battle directly to the forefront, because you're not going to be able to have a mentality where you can look at what's going on and be like, okay, they're actually the real problem here. These are the folks right here that are actually the real problem, that are causing a major issue. Like I said, they're doing it to themselves. They're clearing out the field. They're trying to section off everybody. They're trying to specifically put black people off into this whole, other side, because they'll be like, all right, well, we didn't set up there and gave them, quote unquote, so much that it's impossible for them to be independent. Now they're going to sit up there and fall short and just fall apart, and then we're just going to be there to basically ripple and rummage through whatever it is that's left over. And it's like, yeah, no, that's not how that's going to work out. It's not. That is not how that's going to sit up there and work out, even though that's how they think it is. But this is why I told people before, they like to sit up there and play chess. And the reason that they love to play chess is because they think that they're the only ones that know the rules to the game. They think that they're the only ones that know how to move the pieces. They think they're the only ones that knows how to maximize opportunities. They don't think that black people know how to play chess, which is crazy. They don't think that no black Americans out here know how to play chess, can't sit up there and see the moves, can't read the board 5, 10, 20, 50 steps ahead of time. Crazy work. But like I said, people are going to find out, though. People 100% are going to find out. And inevitably, like I said before, it's going to be, I want people like him and the many others, especially like the conservative blacks that have been speaking out and using black Americans as some type of jump off point or some type of box to pedestalize themselves so that they can be in front of the white majority. I want all of those black folks, when everything breaks down, they better be on that side. They better be 100% over there with the white folks. 100%. Because there is no room. We don't have no time for none of them to decide that they want to slide right back over because of X, Y, and Z. Nah. You got a history. We know your history. We can clearly sit up there and see it. Go over there directly with your people. Let's see if they accept you during that time. And they probably will, because they need a pet. They need a brand new toy. They need a chauffeur. They need somebody to sit up there and, work the yard. They need somebody to be handy directly over there at the house. Like I said, go right up over there and knock yourself right on out like you've been doing, because that's where the money is. That's who you decided that you wanted to, gear your content directly towards. Like I said, this Congolese man, and how it is that he wanted to speak directly on black Americans. Crazy work. Like I said, you speak on black Americans while modeling, cosplaying, masquerading, dressing yourself up as black Americans. I'm looking at him and I'm like, I'm not reading Congolese. I'm not reading it at all. But like I said, this is how they like to move. Matter of fact, since we're already here, let me move over to the next video as well too to further prove my point.
People can't tell I'm African because I'm actually one of the bushest Africans there are, fun fact.
Some people can't tell because you're cosplaying a culture you have nothing to do with. Welcome to the Cosplay Hour, where they try to look like us, talk like us, and claim to be proud of their culture.
Y'all know what my biggest flex is? It's not even materialistic shit. It's that I'm motherfucking African. That's my biggest flex.
If being African is a flex, why do you tell us it's a flex while looking and talking like us? They can't stop cosplaying. They can't stop cosplaying.
The way that Black America treats Africans is completely uncalled for.
Playing my part and you still don't get it. Oh, he's still cosplaying. All right, cool. That's you. You feel me? Like, I don't know what about me just scream like, oh, he's cosplaying.
They can't stop cosplaying. They can't stop cosplaying.
I'm Capella, man. What's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah, what's poppin'?
You know they speak good English, like normal Nigerian English.
How far now?
Where are you from?
I'm from America, but my people Nigerian. What's good?
Africa's a beautiful place to live, and Africa is probably the only place that you can go and start over and be accepted, treated like kings and queens. So not too much on Africa. The African disrespect by Black America needs to stop. And yes, I'm talking about it. Clock that.
Right. So again, I want to showcase this, right? So you're looking at all of these dudes here. These are all Africans. The craziest part is to go directly to social media, especially TikTok, and you can look at Africans. Now, somebody let me know historically, when have Africans dressed like this? Like, you sit up here wearing all of these skinny jeans. I'm not even sure. Like, nobody's even doing skinny jeans right now. I'm like, that was a fad that technically should not have, maybe a certain, timeline, like some teenagers. After that, it's like, yo, you being a grown man wearing skinny jeans, it just should not have been happening. And then you had black dudes out here that was in their 30s and 40s wearing some hyper skinny jeans, sagging, wearing a belt, and then had a gut. I'm like, dog, this is not it. This is not it. This is not it. But yeah, so like I said before, Africans out here, they can't create no type of fashion. They can't actually create their own thing. Like, you're clear cut in Africa, and like, yo, you got on pretty much like a fall cap. You got another one with the 50-50 cap on. You got somebody with like some fake chains on, whatever type of money. You got two hats on you for no reason. Dog, you got a knitted cap directly on top of your head in Africa, and then you got a normal baseball cap directly on your side. What are you doing? I need you to make up your mind on what it is that you're doing. You don't even know what it is that you're doing. You're confused right now. Like I said, everything that they're doing right now, that is all Black American. All of the like, look at me, I'm about to show off my money, look at my chains, look at the fashion, this is all Black American. All of this is Black American. But these are the same folks that sit up there and talk about, oh, I'm proud to be African. I know who it is that I don't see it. You know who it is that you are. You're literally in Africa doing this. How does that even make sense? Where is the you in these clothes? Because this ain't even your culture. This ain't even your culture. Like, yo, this is what I be talking about. This is what I'll be talking about with this weirdo type of behavior when it deals with these Africans up out here, man. Straight weirdo behavior. And people want to pull up to the scene talking about, oh, Black Americans, you guys, you're just afraid of being African, and you guys don't know who it is that you really are. No, we know who it is that we are, and we can obviously spot it. All of this that they're wearing, that is us. No other group on this planet made this type of styling a fixture. The way that we dress, you got everybody else around the world mimicking that. The way that we style our hair, you got other cultures around this planet mimicking that style. And everybody will be like, well, y'all not the only ones that have braids, and everybody braids isn't just one culture type of thing. Shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. Because if I go back to the 1960s, right, when we look at that timeline and we look at the world and how it is that people were moving and dressing, yeah, y'all wasn't doing that. Y'all wasn't doing that. And then it gets to the funniest point where when it dealt with Black Americans, our afros were demonized, right? Because it was seen too black, right? So if you wore like a fro and all this other type of stuff, it was just too black. It was just people like, this is just too much. Now all of a sudden, I think, what was it? Vogue, not Vogue. Whatever white publication piece that was directly out there, they want to call the afro, what is it, like a puffy cloud or something? Like, anytime y'all want to try to colonize something that y'all originally demonized, here y'all come. Y'all didn't like afros for the longest time, but now all of a sudden y'all trying to rename it to make it nicer because y'all getting ready to somehow, some way, get white folks and everybody else to start wearing fros. Get out of here. Let's get out of here. We're not doing that. We are not doing that. We ain't doing it. We're not doing it. Yeah, thank you, Pink. Yeah, it was called. Yeah, they wanted to call it the Cloud Bob. So crazy. What? The Cloud Bob? That's this is all. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like I said, Black people can't have nothing. We can't have nothing. And then here come people like, oh, you guys aren't the only culture to have an afro. Everybody, no. We're not doing that. Because like I said, and this is the beautiful part, we can just pull up pictures. We could go picture for picture over generations and look at who were the main cultures doing afros consistently. Advertisement, pictures, photos, family, culture, rap, music, art. We can look at the group, and by far nobody else is going to be able to hold a candle when it deals with Black Americans. It is us. It's a fine night. It is us. It ain't nobody else about here. Because like I said, wasn't nobody out here trying to wear a fro before Black Americans. Wasn't nobody proud of their hair like that up until Black Americans. And that just is what it is. But people want to run around sitting up here talking about we don't know who it is that we are. We know. We know. Y'all just don't want to accept it because y'all can't lay hands and try to claim it. Because if everybody could basically claim how proud we are of ourselves, then it would just be what it is. But because people can't lay hands and claim it, people are like, oh, y'all don't really know. Y'all just got an ego and a type of pride. Like, remember, everything that y'all got come directly from Africa. Okay. All right. So you say, okay, Ty, okay, it was Vogue. Thank you. Like I said, it's crazy out here. Like, look at this nonsense. Look at this. And then you especially got this African girl right here talking about my biggest flex is that I'm African. But yet your hairstyle is that of a Black American woman. What are we talking about? What are we even the mannerisms, like how she wanted to, like, try to swing her neck and all of that other, like, come on. You talking about you African, we can't even hear it directly in your voice. Where your accent? Why are you not talking in your language when you saying this? Like, yo, the weirdo type of behavior. Weirdo type of behavior. Like I said, this whole thing too, like they can't make money off of themselves. It is impossible for Africans to monetize and talk about themselves and to create and have platforms where everybody want to just go there. This is why when you look at them on every single platform that they're on, where you can see a full body from head to toe, they're dressed like Black Americans. They're not up there dressed like a Cameroonian. They're not dressed like a Nigerian. They're not dressed like a South African, a Kenyan, and all. They're dressed like Black Americans. They sitting up there wearing sunglasses directly, and it's you're in a closed environment. That's something that Black Americans do. It's like, just to be real, that's something that we just do just because, right? Like you doing, you got the mannerisms. Now you trying to sit up there like the African dudes. They trying to be laid back, not say nothing, not say too much, and all this. Man, get out of here. Get out. That's not even naturally normally you. You got that directly from Black American men dealing with Black American culture. Like I said, always doing way too much. And then this one here, she's just nerve wracking. She's just nerve wracking all the way across the board. Y'all done seen her videos. I done posted them directly up here. And like I said, this whole thing here, like, this is ridiculous. And of course, I just want to note when it deals with the way that these tracksuits are even being worn. I'm remembering back in, like, let's say like the 2000s, like you had baby fat, apple bottom jeans, apple bottom, wear directly for women and whatnot. This is what all of that is in a sense reminiscent of for me. And it was only Black American women and during the time teenagers who made that fashionable, who made that a thing where it was all over. Like during that time frame in the hood, there was not a place that you could go that you didn't see a Black woman or a Black teenage girl wearing this. Even to the extent they might even have this directly on the little girls, like the little babies and whatnot or whatever, right? Had a whole tracksuit, whole women in the family was sitting up there like matching, right? There was not a place that you can go. And then once it became that high popular, where it was in music videos, it was in movies, maybe you might have even saw it in commercials, you saw Black female celebrities wearing and all this other type of stuff. Once it got to that height, you know what happened? White mainstream came directly out and they was like, oh, we're about to start doing this too. Usually by the time that it makes it to them, we're like, all right, we're done with this now. we're going to retire this, because that's what has to happen every single time. Because whenever they decide to sit up there and get to it, it's like, yeah, we're done with it now. This is why when you happen to watch a lot of the shows, like even going back to the video that I showed you earlier where the white woman wanted to get directly on the other white dude about being a single father and the things that he stated, she wanted to use like some Black lingo talking about you messing up the bag. That's not even how you talk, Karen. That's not even how you talk. White people don't normally talk about messing up the bag. That's not even, come on. Let's come on. For all intents and purposes, they consider that to be slang or ebonics. That's not how they normally naturally talk. That is not their everyday lingo or anything of the sort. But like I said, this is what they like to do. And then they want to try to push this off as like, oh, it's the brand new gen whatever, and it's the whole TikTok thing. No, it's a way for you as white folks to come directly in, look at what Black folks are doing, how it is that they're talking, and try to figure out a way to insert it into what it is that you're doing. The exact same way that white folks do it, this is the exact same way that Africans do it. So they do it both by way of TikTok and they do it by way of quote unquote being within the Black community, even though they're not actually fully within the Black community. Like I said, it's crazy. Then this one right here, I think he was because I showed off his video before. I think he's like Nigerian. And I want to be very clear. What I've learned about Africans is that they are not fans of tattoos. So again, Black American. He has tattoos directly on his body. That's not something that Africans agree on at all. I just want that to make that very known. Him being a male and having long hair like this, that is especially a no-no. That lets you know that he is in the United States. Because if he was back home, this would not be happening. I got videos again of parents who are African that are in the UK. Their kids, their sons came in with cornrows or locks. They shaved those bad boys off as soon as they hit the door. They snatched them kids up and they went directly to work with those clippers and cut them all off. They don't play that. So like I said, he got his ears pierced and all this other type of stuff and mannerisms. Again, he's trying to make him model himself directly after Black American men, but at the same time separating himself, like I showed y'all in that video about a month or two ago, where a Nigerian woman confronted him and he had to sit up there. He laughed about it. And he spoke to her in Nigerian to let her know, like, no, this is actually who I am. I'm Nigerian. I'm a proud Nigerian man. And just because I dress like this don't mean that I lost or that I don't know who it is that I am. Like I said, this is the games that they sit up there and play. These are the games that they sit up here and play. Matter of fact, do I got the other clip up here where that I'm guessing it was an actor. Let me see if I can get that. Let me play this clip for y'all real quick.
Growing up, you know, with your heritage and being the first, you know, Haitian American.
It was tough, you know, and I didn't realize how tough it was until I became an adult. Like, it's like as a kid, you know, we were like Hannah Montana. You know what I'm saying? We was living two different lives. In school, we wouldn't tell people that, you know, we're first generation Haitians or whatever, because they would look at us like, oh, you're an African booty scratcher, you're this, you're that. So my brother, my oldest brother, like, yo, bro, when you get to school, bro, don't tell no one, like, bro, we got to fit in with these African Americans, da-da-da. And we blended in so well that no one knew that. So I hid who I was for the longest, but it's like, at home, it's Creole, which is like derived from French, and my grandmother, she would speak only French and Creole. So it's like, that's it. So that's how I learned, that's how that was my first language, but it's like, that world is so different from the American culture.
Yeah.
And then in public school, it's something else, you know what I'm saying?
So I want to note that Fancy here is directly over there from the islands as well too. For the longest time possible, I was a fan. I was a fan of the Jamie Foxx show. I was like, yo, she's beautiful, da da da, all this other type of stuff. I'm sitting up here thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, that's a black woman. Like, yo, she's da, da, da. Right? Nah, she's from elsewhere. She is from elsewhere. And I think I looked at specifically the people that she married as well too. So I'm like, so now everything makes sense, right? So we got that, and then we got this whole situation with this young dude here, where he's sitting up there talking about like, yeah, you know, growing up it was tough for us. You know, I really hated who it is that I was. Because I had to hide it. I ain't trying to hear none of that stuff at all. But like, and then here's a classic thing. Like, oh yeah, it's like, yo, if we would have set up there and told them that we were like Haitian and whatnot, they would have just called us African booty. I'm Black American all day long. And going directly to public schools, I was called African booty scratcher as well too. That was just something that we said. Like, that's just what kids did. Like, we just we're saying stupid stuff to each other. But it's crazy how they want to frame it and make it seem like this was something so specific to them and that this was only happening to them. You're within the Black American community. We're going to sit up there and tease. We're going to sit up there and name call. We're going to go back and forth because that's specifically exactly what it is that we do. That's just how it is. But to get up here on I guess you could say a nationally syndicated show and make it seem as though that Black Americans, if we were to ever find out originally that he was Asian, that he would just been inundated with a whole bunch of stuff, that's nonsense. That's ridiculous. Like, really, we was all going to come out in droves and really just like really get on you like that? Yeah, no, we don't really care that much. And again, he's talking about kids. So again, what happened to you when you were like, let's say like a high schooler? What happened to you for, you know, college? You know, was that still the same? Was that still the same thing? Like after you finally came out, so to say, and then you decided to be proud that you were Haitian and all this. What happened? What was the whole Black community come out and calling you an African booty scratcher and doing this and doing all of these things that you said was going to sit up there and happen? Or was it that people just didn't care? Chances are very great that people didn't care. Like I said, I myself work with in New Haitians, and I didn't care. I'm like, all right. I'm like, yo, y'all got a pretty proud, you know, culture and history and, you know, and all that other type of stuff and rah, rah, rah. I was like, yo, it was nothing but, you know, bigging up, you know, those folks. That was it. Like I said, other than that, I didn't really care too much. Like, why would I? So like I said, I get tired of these narratives where folks like this want to pull up on these shows and they want to make it seem like Black Americans are just these types of folks where we will just go out there and attack any and everybody just because they're different. That's not how we move. That's never been how we move. But like I said, this is that psychological warfare. This is the type of perception that they want to give to other people to make it seem as though that Black Americans are realistically a problem in the United States, when realistically we're not even anywhere close. The real ones that are the problems are the ones doing the rules, the laws, and the regulations, the ones actually running, quote unquote, America, the ones that are in the government spaces, the ones that are part of the military, right? The National Guard and all of these other types of armed forces, including the police. But like I said, people don't want to look at that though. People don't want to look at that though. It's crazy. It's diabolical. Diabolical. But again, even more diabolical going back to this, where this dude was up here like, yeah, I was there. I was in the black community for 3 years, but I didn't even know it was a black community. Yo, I love the way in which white folks can be the utmost confident and they can say everything with a straight face. And this dude, he said it with a straight face without missing a beat. He was like, yo, confidently, I can tell you that even though I lived in Memphis for 3 years, I did not know that it was majority black. I just didn't. Where in Memphis was he living? What area in Memphis was he living where all he saw was just white people? Like this needs to be studied. Like, this is crazy. Only in I love it. I love it. Yo, this is yo, that man is a character. That man is a character. Just saying it with a straight face. But like I said, that's how those lies get told. They can just say it with a straight face and everybody believes them. Everybody believes them. That's crazy though. That is some diabolical work. Diabolical work. Let me see. So now we're going to head over to a classic video, right, of tiny violins. Let's take a look at this.
I've applied for over 300 jobs. Not a single callback. Nothing. So what I decided to do on Monday is, this is now Tuesday, what I decided to do yesterday was make a fake resume and change my last name to Singh, different email address, different job qualifications, but all in the same line, same everything. And I've gotten 3 emails in 24 hours. Figure that out.
Right. So you got this white guy here basically saying that as a white male, it's very tough for him in the United States to get a job. So what he decided to do is that he was going to make a whole nother name, go for the job listings and see what happens. And then he was like, color me surprised. Ha ha ha. When I found out that I was getting hired because I was somebody else versus just being me. I mean, it'd be like that. I mean, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Work harder. This is what I mean when I sit up there and tell a lot of white folks out there, I'm like, y'all do all so much in order to come directly down on top of black Americans because you feel that every single thing that you do is going to basically cause more and more problems and issues, when inevitably is going to cause more issues for yourself. Because you think that you're pushing black Americans directly out of this box so that we'll have less opportunities, we won't have this and we won't have that. But inevitably, you're harming yourselves at the end of the day. And this basically shows it. Like I told people, and I keep repeating this time and time again because I love it so much, because I was happy that I was able to witness it in real time. Hugh Perkins, Fox 2, Detroit, back in the early 2000s, went over the stats where he was talking about that 5% of jobs in the early 2000s were going overseas. They were being outsourced. That was in the early 2000s. Now in 2026, look at where a lot of these jobs are. Even if you wanted to work from home as an American and you wanted to sit up there and be on the phones, right? You wanted to do the help desk, or you wanted to help people when it dealt with banking and all this other type of stuff from home. You can't do that being an American. They're going to give that to Indians. They're going to give it to all of them. Why? Because they can pay them cheaper and they can get more of them to sit up there and work for cheaper, because the American dollar stretches further wherever it is that they currently are. Obviously, they're not in the United States. So this is why they're able to get those folks. Right. So that also means that the security part of the situation is already busted, because you're dealing with other folks that got ulterior motives. And we already know that Indians run a lot of these scams, these scam call centers and whatnot or whatever. But yet these are the same folks that America wants to sit up there and hire when it deals with these jobs, because America doesn't want to hire American people, because they don't want to pay American people their proper worth, their proper money. But the only reason that this is able to happen in America is because white Americans are like, hey, we don't want Black people, number one, and then other people to be able to have a cushion job, to be able to work from home and to be able to afford their bills and to do this, that, and the third. We want to make it harder for them. So even if that means that we can't get these jobs, that's all cool as long as the blacks can't sit up there and do it. And this is what they do. And this is the end result. Because you want to hurt and you want to throw a jab directly at Black Americans, you inevitably end up hurting yourself at the end of the day. So like I said, I'm all for it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep making these laws, keep making these rules and these regulations, keep tearing up this country, keep throwing the United States directly into debt, keep doing everything that you want to sit up there and do, all to inevitably, throw it on yourself. Because the end result, which is going to be the beautiful part, is that they're not going to be able to point the finger at anybody else but them. Because ain't nobody else going to be to blame. You're not going to be able to look at Black people and be like, oh, this is the reason blacks are the reason that the jobs are going overseas. No, they're not. Blacks are the reason that these corporations are getting these big tax cuts and they're not putting anything back into the United States. Nope. Can't sit up there and blame us on that. Blacks are the reason that a lot of these corporations are leaving the United States and going elsewhere. Nope. Can't sit up there and blame us on that. Blacks are the reason that the groceries and everything else in the housing is going. Nope. Can't sit up there and blame us on. Like I said, all the times that y'all wanted to be able to just specifically blame us, blame stuff directly on us. Yeah, y'all been actually, chiseling away directly at that. And inevitably, you're going to be ground zero for every single thing. But before that can happen, you know what they're going to sit up there and do? They're going to push the red button. Before blame could actually fully and 100% be placed directly on them as the causation of everything, they're going to press the red button. They'll be like, well, if I can't blame anybody else, I'm not going to take the blame. So you know what? If I go down, everybody goes. That's what they're going to do. They're going to sit up there and press that button real quick. So that now a bigger distraction, a larger distraction, one that you can't, look away from is now, directly in your face. It's crazy work out here. That is some crazy work. That is crazy work. Somebody says something and not Canada. Well, first of all, again, Black American lingo, goofy. Number one. Number two, I don't care if this is Canada or the United States. I don't care. It's still an example of white folks complaining about a situation of which they are the causation of. So maybe you might have missed that one. You're not actually clearly paying attention. But it be like that. Like I said before, I don't care if he is Canadian or not. What is it? A boot. I don't care. I don't care. It's still somebody white complaining about a situation of which they are the controlling factors of, and they allow to happen. That's the point. That is the point. Goofy. Clown. Kakarot, you are nothing but a clown. Like I said, it's like, it's crazy when people really think that they really got something going and they don't. And they really don't. Like I said, you missed the whole complete point of the whole of the conversation that I've been pretty much having this whole time. That only one group is pretty much ground zero, and it's not Black Americans. Good job. Good job. Somebody said blacks are racist. So how are Black Americans racist? I love this conversation. How are Black Americans, take your time, how are Black Americans racist? I need you to let me know. Let me know the rules and the laws that we have passed against other groups of people so that you can prove and substantiate your point of Black Americans being racist. I asked a very clear cut question. How are Black Americans racist? What rules, what laws, what regulations have Black Americans passed historically that you can use to substantiate your point on that Black Americans are racist? That's all I'm saying. What laws have Black people basically created in order to be racist against white folks? Have we made any color laws? Have we made any laws dealing with like their hair, the complexion of their skin? Like, let me know. He was like, well, to begin with, blacks don't run the. Okay, so if we don't run the United States, will we deal with the power of being racist? How are Black folks racist if we are not in power? And if we are not in power, how have we done anything racist against other groups of people, meaning laws, rules, regulation, military, police, medical, education, housing, and so on, and even government assistance? Like, what? Like, you're not even making any type of sense. You're not even making any type of sense. Like I said before, I made it very simple. I made it very direct. I made it very simple for anybody to sit up there and understand. The fact of the matter is, you can't list anything, because if I'm to go historically and look at Black Americans historically have been some of the most opening, caring, and giving individuals. Case in point, right? When you look at newer people that come directly into the United States, where do a lot of these folks tend to sit up there and go? Like, if they're, like Asian, if they want to open up businesses, right? Where do they tend to go? Do they open up businesses with white communities, or do they tend to open these up in multicultural or predominantly Black communities? They tend to go to BNC. That's what they tend to sit up there and do, because that's where they tend to build their money and get their money directly from. And on top of that, Black Americans, because of the way that we've been treated by society and within these United States historically, we tend to be a lot more caring and understanding, and be like, hey, you can have a business here. Hey, we'll patronize, your business. Hey, we'll actually be side by side with you. We'll help you out with certain things and all this other type of stuff. The white community is not doing that. They're making sure their community stays their community. And they're going to make it very difficult for other groups of people to decide to come directly up in there and to start up a business. They're not about that. And like I said, it be like that. I'm not offended by it. They can do whatever it is that they want to sit up there and do in their community. I don't expect them to change, nor do I want them to sit up there and change. But I'm just making it very clear on who is more accepting of people coming into their communities. And it's Black Americans by far. Like, what are we even talking about? And then you want to sit up and try to pull up to the scene talking about some Black Americans are racist. Where? Like, Black Americans are the main ones that don't have a racial slur for every other group, but every other group has a racial slur when it deals with Black Americans. Explain that to me. But Black Americans are racist, though. The whole world. I didn't even heard racial slurs in Korean, Chinese, Japanese, German, those in the Netherlands, and everybody around the world got a slur for us. But Black Americans don't got a slur for everybody else around the world. But yet Black Americans are the ones that's stated to be racist. Okay. Yo, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Y'all really pull up to the scene thinking y'all trying to prove some type of point. Oh, yeah, you Black Americans, you guys are racist. Racist how and where? Like I said, I stumbled upon a whole dictionary where it was nothing but racial slurs. And I'm like, Black Americans did not even have a hand in this. I'm like, there's a racial slur for everybody around the world. And I'm like, Black Americans had no hands on this. We did not create, we didn't write nothing in there. Like I said, crazy word, but we're the ones that's racist, though. Okay. You literally just listened to a white man in a previous video said that he lived in Memphis for 3 years, and he didn't dawn on him that he was living in a predominantly black area. Crazy work, but black Americans are racist. Okay. I wish I would sit up there and go directly to Colorado or Utah or Montana and be up in there for 3 years and lie on the stand or in front of in Congress or whatever and be like, yeah, I was here in Utah for, in the Mormon state for the longest time possible. I didn't know that they were Mormon, and I didn't know that this was a white state. That's crazy. I just found this out today. So I'm like, so, sir, so as a black man, you mean to tell me that all the cars that you pass by, all the businesses, all the homes, all the churches, which are pretty much all white, you mean to tell me that it didn't dawn on you as a black man that you were living in a white state? Now that you explain it like that, yeah, I just didn't know. I couldn't fathom. I don't see color. Like I said, it's crazy. It's crazy work out here. It is crazy how people can just pull up to the scene and just start telling lies. It's crazy work out here. It'd be like that though. 100% be like that though. It is wild. Completely wild. Like I said, you bring up a lot of those racial slurs that people tend to make, and that argument on black people being racist, it starts falling real silent. It's like people don't be saying nothing else. Because you don't got nothing to counter that. Or you don't got nothing at all to sit up there and counter that at all. I even went over certain words as well too. I got a whole video directly up there, just in case somebody want to pull up scene. But black people were saying this about white people, and I'm like, I pretty much know what you're going to sit up there and say. And I'm like, I did a whole video, and I went over a little bit of the history of the terminology and the word. I'm like, yeah, that had nothing to do with race, but it be like that. Let me see. Wait, who? Oh, you said, but from what I can see, y'all have issues. You said I'm not American. Of course, you're not American. Of course, your name is looking like real Russian. You over there in Europe. Of course, obviously, we know that you're not American. We can look directly at your tag directly up here. That's that was a no brainer. We know how to read. We know how to read. We pay very good attention to names directly about here. Or better yet, even if it's not directly in the name, we can look at how it is that you decide to type and respond, and we can pretty much tell. So it'd be like that. Right? But yeah, like I said, that's some diabolical work. He was like, I'm not American, right? But yet you're in black American business or American business, right? And you said, but from what I can see, y'all have issues. I'm pretty sure that if I were able to find out who you are, like, family wise, where it is that your people are from, I can pretty much be certain that I can point out some problems and some issues there that you guys have had historically with other groups of people. I can promise you. I can promise you. In order for this not to be the case, you would have to be some random tribe in the Amazon that has been isolated in order for that pretty much to not be the case. But I know that that's not the case, and you live within the modern world. So within living in the modern world, I can look at modern history and automatically know that you have had your issues, or that your people, your representatives have had issues with other people and have drastically caused some problems here or there. So yeah, like I said, it's crazy work. That's some crazy work. What was it? That guy from Texas, correct. That would be the correct terminology. Correct. Somebody said black Russian orphans. Some crazy work. Didn't even know there were black Russian orphans out there. Crazy work. You said the Ottomans and the Turks. Yeah, so y'all got issues directly about there. And those issues are probably still prevalent still to this day, where you guys, or the three of you guys, are not really seeing eye to eye. So it's like, yeah. So let's not Let's not sit up there and do this. You got historical issues and issues that still carry on to this day. You need to fixate and worry directly about that, since you are not even American at all, and especially you're not even Black American. So that's a pretty fair point. Just saying, that's a pretty fair point directly there. This is what Black Americans be talking about when people just be pulling up to the scene and they decide that they want to get directly in Black folks' business, or better yet, American business, and it don't got nothing to do with you at all, your country or whatnot or whatever. Crazy work though. Crazy work. Then you want to start off by sitting up there saying that we racist. I love it. I love it. So let me see. What's the next one we want to go to? Let me see. Don't want to go to this video. Let me see. What was this video again?
I just learned that a man cannot have full control and full his feelings.
Okay, maybe I'll say that one for last. Say that one for last. We'll go to this one here.
So when I used to work for the county in social services, I went in full Democrat, full liberal, and I came out Republican. Let's talk about it. I used to work in the social services department, so any public benefits, we're talking Medicaid, food stamps, cash aid, disability, unemployment, veteran service, housing. I did all the things, intake, applications, case maintenance, you name it. So when somebody who has a social security number like you and I apply for benefits through their social security numbers, I could tell, or any of the workers could tell using the social security number, whether somebody is working, whether somebody has money in their bank, whether they have property, cars, how much money they made that year through their taxes, whether they have additional income. However, here's the loophole. If somebody without a social security number, so somebody who's undocumented, applies for benefits, and they do qualify for benefits, by the way, they qualify for full Medicaid, housing, migrant head start, that's fully paid childcare. Not to mention that if these people have any kids that are U.S. citizens, meaning that they're born here, then they apply for benefits for their kids, and their kids being U.S. citizens qualify for all the benefits, all the services. So if you have an undocumented parent, meaning a parent that does not have a social security number, apply for benefits for their children, there's absolutely no way as a worker I could tell if they're making income, if they have any property, if they did taxes, how much money they made. There's just no way. We're talking $1,200 per kid plus $275 per person cash food stamps. That doesn't include housing, all the other benefits they get. And here in California, they don't even care. They don't even hide it. I used to have women and some men that would come in straight up with their nails did, their hair done, blonde, bleach blonde, Gucci bags, Gucci glasses, driving up on Escalades, chewing gum super loud, saying, "Where's my welfare check?" I used to live in a neighborhood where 70% of the people around me were undocumented, and man, did they live the life. New cars, parties every weekend. Oh yeah, and they also qualify for WIC. I forgot to say that. Meanwhile, us U.S. citizens, we don't qualify for nada, nothing. It was so common where the women or the moms in my community that were undocumented, they wouldn't work. They would have their own community of stay-at-home moms, while us U.S. citizen moms would have to go out and work because we can't afford to live. And listen, I don't have anything against undocumented immigrants. Like, hey, we're all human beings. I think that if I was an undocumented immigrant, I'd probably take advantage of this loophole too. It's the government, especially the state of California, especially liberal states. It's the government that doesn't allow or put in regulations to limit this kind of fraud and waste. And we're all screwed. Not only us taxpayers who have to pay for this kind of waste and fraud, but when the federal government comes in to enforce immigration laws, people are upset. They're confused. You don't understand why is it that they're being deported. If they've been openly living and getting all these free benefits regardless of their immigration status. We need to do better. The state of California needs to do better. We all need to get on the same page here.
So we heard that, right? She clearly said that a lot of these folks, obviously who are not Black American, they're able to get money directly from the United States government, on top of the fact that they're able to get monies and they got cars and they formulate their groups where all of these other individuals are also getting money as well too. They got Gucci, Louis, Prada, Mercedes, they got Benzes, Range Rovers, nice homes, and all this other type of stuff. But yet, when Black Americans need a little bit of assistance, a little bit of help, what do we get? Nothing. We get told to stop begging. We get told to stop looking for handouts and all of these things. And especially from, the Black conservatives, the Black Republicans directly up out there, I figure them in a sense, much like the Boule gatekeepers that are directly out there, where they want to keep Black folks directly in a certain area, right? Because you got to understand, once you have certain segments of the population, the mighty few, right? The mighty minority that are able to make the utmost money off of the situation. The only reason they can make money off of the situation is by keeping Black people mentally in a certain place. Because they know that if Black people were to move around and to get directly out of that situation, their career and their platforms and everything that they normally do is done. Because there's nothing for them to talk about. They can't talk about Black Americans and do that no more. That would then leave them to then start talking about white Americans, and they're not going to sit up there and do that because that's their main go-to when it deals with money, sponsorship, donations, followers, subscribers, and all of these other types of things. But again, like I said before, those are the same groups that will pull up to the scene and tell Black people to stop begging, to tell Black people that you're not owed any type of thing and nobody should be giving you anything. But yeah, this woman right here just literally laid out how it is that other folks who are not Black American are able to full-fledged get money directly from the government, from the system. Let somebody Black pull up getting government benefits or assistance in a nice car, wearing jewelry to the nine, clothes to the nine, nice car, and they pulling up there. The government will be doing an audit pronto, as expeditiously as possible. They would be on them. But because these folks are not Black American, that's not going to happen. Because these folks are not Black American, they're not about to start running through and going through their communities and trying to look at the funds and the money of where it is that these people are getting it and how it is that they're spending it. But people want to sit up there and say that, Black Americans are the problem. It's crazy work. That is diabolical. It's crazy work. Diabolical in nature, but it'd be like that. So now we're going to go to the next video.
You've been open about
the girls do me dirty. Dirty.
Me?
No, the girls.
Oh, the girl. Really?
Yeah.
I would. This is not ever something I've ever explored, but I would always imagine that girls would be easier to manage.
Worse.
Really?
My experience has been they're a little bit worse. Yeah.
How so? Maybe just bad picking.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that. But also, like, girls, they don't really approach me seriously. They approach me like sensually. And I'm like, well, I would want it to be something more serious.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't really gotten that approach from many women. They're just like, oh, she's beautiful, she's attractive, or like talking about my body and stuff. So
yeah, it's like a sexual
thing. Yeah. So maybe they don't take me seriously. But when I think of my next relationship, I've been in a space where I want, because I'm feeling so feminine, like I want the opposite energy, and I'm feeling like a masculine, or maybe it's a masculine woman.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I've never really tried that. The women that I've dated are like, have been like
sexy too.
Yeah, a little bit femme, a little bit more like in the middle, or more femme than masculine. But I also think about like children and just like be thrown against the wall. So I'm so weak, I'm feminine, and like just this masculine figure. So in my head, I think it might be a guy.
Yeah, that's where you're at right now.
Right now,
I would think because you have.
So this whole conversation, which is completely stupid, she's basically saying that she's a woman and she basically wants a man, but instead of wanting a man, she wants to be with a woman that's reflective of a man. All you have to do is just get a guy. That's all you have to do. I don't understand how people make this so difficult. I don't understand. And then she listed the whole thing of being thrown against the wall. I've never seen women read a book like a Zane or something where it's a woman that is in a sense as they like to say masculine presenting, throwing another woman that is just acting as a woman like against the wall and just taking advantage. I've never seen women read books like that. It's always been a guy that is like, Herculean 6 foot something, and the woman is like the size of like a pinky or something. He's just like throwing her against the wall and they're just like going to town and stuff. Like, this is just, I don't understand why people make stuff so difficult. And then the craziest part is looking at the host. She was up there like, maybe you're just bad at picking women. I've never heard somebody sit up there and tell a woman that she's bad at picking women. I've never heard that. I just feel like she said that just to sit up there and say it, because I've never, out of history of humanity, I've never heard a woman say that to another woman. That's like, yeah, you're just bad at picking female friends. I've never, ever in life heard a woman say that. Never. Never. And then you sit up and saying that a woman is bad at picking other women. Huh? How does that work? Women know women. So how could she fail? That doesn't make any type of sense. If you were talking about a guy, I understand, because guys are not women. Guys are not women. We got to figure stuff out. We got to try to assess the situation. We got to pay attention. There's a lot of mathematics that are involved. Like you pretty much got to know physics, astronomy, and trigonometry, in order to get, the best concept, or to, really think you got a sense of figuring out women. And even then, you still don't know. So it's like, it's a little bit weird for me being a guy looking at a woman, tell another woman that maybe she's just bad at picking women. That's crazy. I ain't never in my life. All you have to do is just find a guy. Like I said, there's nothing. Let me go back to this woman. There's nothing. I don't even know what the rest of her looks like. I'm looking directly at her face. I can tell you she barely has on makeup. She looks nice. There ain't nothing wrong with her. For her to sit up here and say that, for whatever reason, she just can't find that guy, that's a you problem, sweetheart. You are specifically looking for your ideal. You're looking for an imaginary version of a guy that you built in your mind. No man on this planet is going to be able to fit that. But when it deals with women, notice how she doesn't have this fixation, this imaginary type of perfect woman that is supposed to slot herself into this vision. She's just like, yo, as long as you're a woman and you like women and you look nice, you're for me. That's how that works. It's like anybody can get it. But if you're a guy, nah. It's like you got to be above Jesus to slide into that whole mode. That's impossible. Like I said, this is further proof on how a lot of women basically cut themselves out of potential suitors and partners when it deals with men, because women do it to themselves. It's not the whole thing where women want to sit up there and say, oh, it's the guys, and they don't know how to treat women. They don't know how to talk. They don't know how to introduce. They don't know how to carry a conversation. No. It's because women initially have a pre-written thing in their mind, a script on how it is that a guy is supposed to move, how he's supposed to act, how he's supposed to look, how he's supposed to talk, how he's supposed to pronunciate, how much money he's supposed to make, how his body is supposed to look, what type of resources he's supposed to have, what type of job, what type of edge. They have a pre-written script. And if you don't follow none of that script, you're getting thrown out. You're getting thrown out. And then not to mention that when you go online, every single time you see a video online and women are talking about men, they say that 95 to 98% of men are ugly. So there's that too. So the reason why a lot of women cannot find a man directly out there is not because of men, it's because of them. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Like, yo, that is crazy. That is crazy. Crazy. But let's continue.
So I just learned that a man cannot have full control and full access to his feelings. So what was explained to me is, let's say someone broke in a house, right? And everyone is afraid. Everyone is fearful, right? But only the woman is allowed to be scared. because he then has to get up and protect his family. If they are arguing, he has to console her, and he can't be consoled because she's the woman. The man can express what he feels because her feelings are supposed to be far greater than his. And I never really thought about it that way. He says, if they lose the child, everyone consoles the mother. No one consoles the father. If they lose a loved one, even though it could be his family, they always console her. How you holding up? How you doing this for him? I was like, is it really like that? See, this is why I don't like that saying, happy wife, happy life. Because it, to me, it really, even listening to that conversation, it is literally saying, you as a man have to put your feelings on the back burner, because the only way that your marriage or your relationship is going to be happy is if the woman is happy. Therefore, you're not allowed to think, feel, react. Like you become a robot in this relationship because only one person is important. Y'all listen. I don't want somebody that operates the way I want him to. I don't want somebody that's not allowed to think and feel, be vulnerable, react. Like, I don't want that. Why would anybody want that out of a person? Y'all, is that really how y'all feel? Y'all could tell me the truth. Is that how y'all feel in your relationship? Y'all feel less than? I want to know. And then for those that do feel like that and feel like you have no voice and no say so and that you are not important, why are you still there? Why? Why would you put your own peace and your happiness aside? Y'all, I have questions.
Right. So we heard that, right? Everything that she stated is true. When it deals with men going through anything, right? Just make it to a bigger example. The world does not care. If men die, the world really, in a sense, doesn't. I mean, unless you're like a celebrity, right? Like when Michael Jackson died, like technically, for instance, I feel like for about a few seconds, the world literally stopped. Right. When that happened, it was like people all over the planet were actually mourning. Right. So it was like in that instance, that was one moment in time where it was like, hey, people actually did care. But other than that, on average, like people don't care. Like men can sit up there and lose kids and or a wife or whatnot, whatever. People don't care. Let's just be on average, people do not care. When you think about emotions, when you think about crying, when you think about consoling, when you think about losses, the main thing that comes up in my mind is women. Everybody's like, yo, we got to rush to the woman. We got to make sure that she is okay. We got to make sure that, she's feeling. We got to, check on her mental. We got to see how everything's going. We got to do a daily checkup. When it deals with men in the exact same circumstance, men are by themselves. Nobody is coming to the aid of. Nobody is coming to specifically, check up on. It be like that. And if robbery, like the example that she gave, like if somebody were to break into the house, it's like, yeah, guys don't have the option to sit up there and be like, yo, I'm human right now. I am, like technically scared or what. No, you don't got the option. You don't got the option to have any other emotion but to attack. That's it. Because in society, how it is that you're automatically supposed to be bred up to be an attack dog. No matter what basically happens, your whole mode is to basically attack. You're not supposed to think. You're just supposed to do. You're not supposed to have no type of emotions. You're just supposed to seek out and destroy. That's it. That's it. Even if you, beyond what this woman is basically stating, if you listen to women on other platforms, they'll say the exact same thing. They was like, I want my man to just sit up there and do. I want him to think about it. If I tell him to do something, he better sit up there and do it. It don't matter if it's about money, if it's about, protecting, if it's about fixing something, he better just sit up there and do it. Like I said, she's saying that women don't want a robot, but when you listen to women, everyday women on social media, they'll sit up there and say like, yeah, we want a robot. If I tell a man to do this, I expect him to do this. If I tell you to take out the garbage, I expect you to take out the garbage when I tell you to take out the garbage. right? So like I said before, it's crazy when people want to sit up there and say like, "Hey, that's not really what women want." It's like, nah. Like I said, and if okay, so let me just make it like an even thing, a balanced thing, right? If we got two sides to women, where you got women sitting up here saying that, okay, this is not what we want, and then you got the other side of women saying, yes, this is what we want. As a man, I'm going to sit up there and tell y'all this: y'all are giving mixed messages. That's what a mixed message looks like. Where you got women over here saying one thing and then women over here saying another thing, and then in the middle, men have to basically try to figure out and decipher some stuff. And then no matter how we try to figure it out, no matter how we try to write it down, note it, and jot it, we go through this and then we still end up being wrong. Yeah, nah. Nah. Like I said, it's crazy. That is diabolical. That is 100% crazy. Like, man, 100%. But yeah, it be like that. It's a lonely world out there for guys. And the main thing with, especially me, I've tried to tell a lot of women out here, I'm like, don't ever try to wish to be a guy, and don't try to emulate. Because the walk of life when it deals with being a man is a very difficult, and it's full of a lot of hardships. It is full of a lot of alone time and being directly by yourself, because you're on a journey. You're trying to build some stuff. You're trying to figure some stuff directly out. Like I said, stay directly in a woman's place where you got love, where you got admiration, where you got value, where you got respect, where people actually see you. When you're a guy, people don't see you up until you start producing something, up until you start making something where people will then consider you to be valuable, because they can now like use you for something or whatnot or whatever. Right? If you're a guy and you ain't really out here doing nothing, don't nobody care. Don't nobody care. Like I said, people don't really start caring about dudes up until they make something that somehow substantiates whatever it is that people basically want or desire, and all this other type of stuff. Like I said, I see so many videos of young women out here talking about, oh, it's so tough being a woman. I wish I was a guy. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you do not. The consistent battles that men have to do with other men, and growing up, the loss of life that basically takes place and happen. No, you don't. This is not what you want. This is not what you want. Like I said, people always think the grass is green on the other side, and it's not. I've never in my life sat up there and said, like, man, it is so tough out here being a man. I really wish I was a woman. No, I don't. So, I'm good. No. Nope. Can bring me back to be a man 1,000 times and I'll be just that. I ain't trying to be nothing else. I ain't trying to do nothing else. Like I said, I'm good exactly where it is that I am. This is what I was made for. Like I said, it's crazy work out here. Crazy work. But now we're going to sit up here and fly directly into another video. And this is I'll probably have a standalone video of this as well too. Because this video by itself, I was quite nerve wrack. Is it nerving? Whatever. It just got on my nerves, but you'll see why.
Why some black men are insistent on disrespecting and being weird towards black women. I'm here in Bangkok, Thailand, on the other side of the world, and still there's a coon in every country. I just had the most bizarre encounter with this diva over a photo op, like overtaking a picture in front of the giant Buddha, very iconic landmark. I'm over here waiting like over 5 minutes for like these Europeans and then this black guy and his white friend to take photos. And they see I'm standing here, and I've had no issues like taking photos or people offering to take photos of me while I've been in here in Thailand. I noticed the girlies, we have a really good system. Like, I take a photo, I'm going to step back so you can take a photo and I can look at my photos and see what I want to do differently. Shouldn't be this complicated, but it is. And I'm never really this serious to get a photo. Like, I have my tripod out, I pull out the remote, and I just snap one, two. That's it, right? These guys were taking a very long time. One of the European dudes was getting upset with his friend. Like, it was just very serious for them. But I realized, like, they see me standing here and they're not going to make any room or space for me. So I'm just going to have to take it. So once both groups, got the European guy and black guy and his friend, once both groups were evaluating the photos that their friends have took of them, I sneak in with my tripod and start clicking away, right? That's when the black guy turns around. He's like, yeah, bro, just fix this, do that, and we'll try again. So he starts to walk back in the frame. Clearly, I'm standing here and I have not gotten his photos. The European guys have not gotten their photos, vice versa. But all of a sudden, you walk right in front of my frame. I politely say, hey, excuse me, do you mind if I just quickly take some photos? Like, I'm quick. I'm very quick. I don't want to be here that long. You guys seem like you really need to have the space. So I'm just in and out. And he literally looked at me like I asked him for like his social security number or something, like looked like I'm like trying to rob him. He gives me the nastiest look and then takes like 3 giant steps back with his long, skinny legs. And then he looks at the white boy that he's with. The white boy goes, and then he's like, nah, F this. And walks right into my frame again, but literally stands next to me and then like poses right in front of me and just stands there, and his friends taking photos of him, and I'm just start clicking because I'm like, ain't no way this is happening right now. But I don't move because I'm like, I just want to take a photo, but now you're trying to push me out of the space, and that's not going to happen. But anyway, he takes his photo and then he walks back out the frame. The European guys are like, no, take your time, do what you need to do. And I just said, that was so weird, unnecessary, rude. Like in front of a Buddha at a temple, there's monks walking around all over the place. It's very sacred land and you can feel the energy. Like it's very peaceful here. But that whole situation threw me out of flow state. Like I've been touring the temples all morning and it kind of like gave me a very nasty taste in my mouth because I'm like, this is how some of them act in the States. And this guy was from the UK based on his accent. The guy that he was with was American. And I just thought to myself, that was so unnecessary. One, over a photo, but two, I already know he wouldn't do that to like our counterparts. Like he would have never done that. In fact, they would probably been very, very nice. But he came over on weird energy. The whole interaction was just bizarre and honestly very unfortunate because I feel like when I travel, when I meet other black men, I never know what I'm going to get. Like I don't know if they like black women. Like, are they going to see me as a person? You don't have to be attracted to me to just show me human decency. And that's what I noticed a lot. Some of these men. But anyway, I bring all that to say, very weird interaction. And I could be reading too much into it, but nobody walks into someone's photo frame when someone's taking a photo. Like that's just, it's rude. He wasn't doing that to the white European men, but why he felt comfortable doing it to me, I don't even know. But yeah, even on the other side of the world, still on some bullshit. And it makes me think back to when I was in Sri Lanka. I only saw 2 other black people. One was a girl. She was from, I think she was from France. She was from Germany. And then this other guy who's at my hostel. And I was with a girl when I saw him. And normally, like when you see other black people when you're traveling, it's an immediate, hey, how are you? Oh my gosh. I look at this black man. He looks at me. We both look away. Then we look at each other again. And I go, hey, how are you? He literally turns his head away from me. And the girl I was with was like, that was the most bizarre and rudest thing I'd ever seen. I said, yeah. You never know what you're gonna get with these with some black men. You just never know what you're gonna get. And he was really in deep with like the white girls at the hostel. He was trying to get with one of them who had a boyfriend. Really weird. And I know it's not all black men. I really know that. Like I've been going to the black meetups here. All the black guys are great at the black meetups, but when I meet them outside of those spaces, I never know what I'm gonna get. Anyway, it's getting weird out here. And also, I did not know some men were that serious with getting content. Like straight divas, man. I'm telling you, he was such a diva. So I'm just kidding.
So I just want to know, because if just in case people didn't pay attention, she stated that there was a black guy, right? And then she wanted to also cross-reference that with the States by saying like, oh yeah, that's how they act in the States and da 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 and all this other. But at the same time, the dude that she was talking about, the black guy that she was referring to, she said he was from the UK, which means that he is African. So she made a whole video talking about black men and then trying to reference the United States, trying to use this example to broad brush black American men in the United States and from the United States as to link them to the one that was specifically doing all of this type of stuff over there where she is. But it was a guy, an African from the UK. Come on, dog. This is what I be talking about, man. This is, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. All the way across the world, for whatever reason, black American men always get mentioned. always get fixated on, always get talked about for no reason at all. She could, oh my gosh, she could have worded this so differently. If she would have worded this differently, I would not have cared. But because of the words that she used and how she tried to frame this, and she brought Black American men up multiple times throughout this whole thing, is completely crazy. And then you wanted to bring up who it is that people are dating and all this other type. Man, come on, dog. This is just oh, brother. Brother. All the way across the world, and this is you ain't talking about nothing else. You're not all the way across the world. All the way across the world. Crazy work. All the way across the world, and this is what you decide to do. And this is my other thing too. I'm like, you going all the way across the world. Why are you sitting up there looking for Black people? Especially Black men. Why are you even looking for Black men? If you're going around the world, you're not looking for Black men. Like you talking about you going to Black meetups and all this other type of stuff. And then when you go to the Black meetups, everything is fine. But then after that, people be sitting up there acting weird. What? And then you want to sit up there and state that you saw a Black guy and you decided to say hi to him and he didn't say nothing to you. Rightfully so, because if you were in the States, if that dude is even Black American from the States, if you were in the States, you would not be openly trying to walk through and say hi to him. Like now you want to say hi because y'all the only few Black people. Nah, man, get out of here with that. Get out. That's trash. That's trash. That's trash. Because normally that dude that you were saying hi to, he probably would have been invisible. He would not have been your type. He would not have been deemed attractive. He wouldn't have been making the type of money. Y'all not in the same circles, don't got the same education. It would have been all this other type of stuff. But now none of that matters when you're outside of the United States. Now none of that education, the height, the looks, the none of that. Now it's just because we're Black, we need to be talking to each other. No, man, miss me with that. That's trash. That is 1,000% trash. And it's going to get even more trash with this next video.
It's getting weird out here. And also, I did not know some men were that serious with getting content. Like, straight divas, man. I'm telling you, he was such a diva. So I'm just getting home from a happy hour in the West Loop. And every single Black man we saw tonight, we saw like 10 plus men. Every single last one of them was with a non-Black woman, like every single one. And I wasn't going to bring it up until we got to the second bar. And my friend who I'm with, Black man from Atlanta, he was like, what is going on? Like, where are we? And I was like, we're in the West Loop. We're in Chicago. And I'm not even going to hold you. It's been a bit jarring seeing this, especially after I have been traveling as extensively as I have. Like, been living in Hawaii for half the year, traveled throughout Africa, have lived throughout Latin America. And you see like Black women being like celebrated and with other Black men, whatever, in other countries. But it always blows my mind, like coming back to Chicago and not seeing that like often. And obviously, I know this is not all Black men in Chicago, especially because I don't live here anymore. I'm staying with family out on the South Side because I'm traveling like 90% of the year. So I didn't sign a lease. So down here, like I see Black men and Black women couplings. I get Black men who approach me here. But I used to live in Gold Coast and River North for like my 4+ years in Chicago. Never really saw that up north. And it was a bit shocking to like be back in that environment and just seeing the complete opposite at such a high scale too. Like it was really weird to go out and the only couplings I saw with Black people were Black men with white women. All the Black women were literally out with the girls by themselves and baddies, like straight tens. And I was just like, I feel like I'm back in Oklahoma. But I don't know, tonight it just felt really weird. Like I've grown up in environments like Oklahoma is very much weird down there. Like the Black men down there, most of them are not checking for Black women. But to be in Chicago, I thought it would be different. And when I first moved here, like you would see it, but not as often. But like who you like, whatever. I'm not trying to cause that discourse, but tonight the vibes are just kind of weird too. Like there was a couple that
What?
was seated at our little cocktail table because there was no seating. And even the guy, he just was like looking at me all crazy. And I was like, I don't care. Like, please stop looking at me. Like, I love that you don't like black women. I love that for you. But it's like the stares you get as well. Like, I don't know. Again, I know it's not all Chicago, and I also know the discourse you see online is not a reflection of all real life. But it is always so bizarre to like walk into spaces and you just see that like every single black man we saw tonight. Like, I was just like, where?
Like, did she not just sit up there and say that it feels like she was back in Oklahoma? Ma'am, you were literally in a white state. You probably lived there for quite some time because you said that you travel and do all of this other type of stuff, which means that you're educated, you got money, and all this other type of stuff. This is why you're traveling and whatnot or whatever. And you sitting up here, for whatever reason, you're fixated. For whatever reason, around the world, you're not mentioning the quote unquote black women that are with men of other races. You're not focused on that because that's not on your radar because you don't care because you're like, hey, they're living their best life. They're out there getting the bag. They're with whoever loves them and all this other type of stuff. It's all fine and dandy. But the moment of time, you're like, I'm in Chicago and I see black men that are just all paired up with white women. But you're not being honest about one thing. All of those black men that you're looking at, you wouldn't even deem them to be attractive. You wouldn't even give them the time of day. They're not even your type. So I'm highly confused when this conversation happens, how it is that women like her never bring up the attractive factor, the money factor, the education factor, the living arrangement factor, everything. They don't bring up none of this stuff. All they sit up there and say this, oh, it's obvious that black men are not interested and don't love black women. What? Brother, how do we do this? How do we do this? And then she was like, oh, I'm not trying to shame anybody. I'm not trying to cause a discourse. Yes, you are. And then on top of that, you said that you were having a conversation with a friend with a guy who was from Atlanta. And y'all were having a conversation about how black men are paired up with white women. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. And then on top of that, you were like, yeah, every single black woman you saw up there, she was a 10. She was a 10. She was a 10. Okay. So you can always see the attractive black women, right? But when it's the reverse, you never see the normal black men. But the only time that you see the normal black men is when they're highlighted, quote unquote, and when they're with white women. Also, want to point out, she's saying that every single black woman out there was a 10, right? Nobody was a below a 10. Okay, whatever, right? So how do you know that those women were even interested in black men, and especially the black men that were there? And then she was sitting up there stating how one of the black dudes was sitting up there giving her a look. That's probably because he overheard the dumb conversation that you were having instead of being out with your best friend, right? Your male best friend. Instead of you being out with your male best friend and just enjoying just being out together, y'all were probably having a loud conversation enough that people can happen to hear within earshot of you basically complaining about how it is of like, oh, all I sit up there and see is black men with white women and da 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 and all this other type of, man, dog, this is so tiring, dog. This is just so tiring. You talking about you well traveled, you educated, and all this other type of stuff, and this is the conversation that you're having. You're in two different places. In one place, you're around the world. In the next place, you're in the United States. In both instances, these videos, you decided to make it about Black American men. But the one where you were out of state, it had nothing to do with the Black American man. But you still slotted us directly in there and made us the problem. Oh my God. You can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up, man. You just, it's impossible. It's impossible. It is just impossible. Like somehow, some way, it's like, yo, you're just going to catch the blame. You're just going to sit up there and catch the blame for something for no reason. And I want to know, at no point in time in any one of her videos did she state that she was interested in any of those guys. I just want to note that. So it's like you could spot who these guys are dating, and that's irritating you to the point where you decided to make these minute-long videos about it and specifically make this the conversation point. But at no point did she ever say that any of those dudes that she was interested or attracted to. And I promise you, more than likely, because she listed being in Oklahoma, I promise you she had a relationship or two with white guys. So again, within that, I'm just going by a theory, because again, we're dealing with Oklahoma. We're dealing with Oklahoma, right? So within that, and from at least what I've been able to gather and understand and see directly on social media from types like this, 9 times out of 10, they didn't have relationships or situationships with white dudes directly out there. But these would be the same types that would be focused on who it is that black men are dating and say that black men are anti-black because they're not dating black women, or they're afraid of their blackness because, or not proud of their blackness because they're not dating black women and they want to date everybody else and yada, yada, yada. It's tiring. It's tiring. It's very much time. Like for me, I don't really care. Like I could sit up there and be honest. Like at one point in time when I was younger, I did sit up there and care because I'm like, yo, I should technically see the reflection of me, with that person. But that was because I was interested in that person. But then as you grow up, you realize it was like, hey, if people want to date whoever it is that they want to date, that's within their right to sit up there and do that. You don't have a control. You don't have a say so or on who it is that somebody's dating just because they're from your community, right? That's the realization that I grew up and it ended up, understanding, or better yet, that's the understanding that I came down to as growing up, right? But it's like I'm listening to this nonsense here, and I'm listening to grown women, and I'm like, how are you this grown and you still have this type of attitude as if you got some type of control or say so on who it is that black men are specifically dating? I, as a black man, know that I don't have control over black women. But yet, even with that, I always see 9 times out of 10 women who are like this, who have dated men of other cultures, always want to be on the topic of who it is that black men are dating and then want to shame black men for doing the exact same things that they're doing. And I'm just baffled and confused. Like I still to this day, I just do not understand it, because it seems as if it is a type of unhealthy obsession, right? And better yet, I'll land it directly on this last video here, right?
That black women and white men made so much more sense in terms of coupling than white women and black men. And I don't like to have thoughts like this go unexplored or unresearched. So I put in the time to see why I kind of always had this double standard, like since I was a child and just able to fathom race in America. I want to preface that this is very, very specific to American culture, and that race consciousness is inseparable from our daily life. And I understand that this is a discriminatory double standard. I do come from a biracial family, a mixed race family, and the majority of our family couplings that are biracial, it's a black woman and white man.
Let me just freeze it right there. Let me just freeze that right there. Let me just let that just bake. I just want that to bake real quick. She said the majority of the coupling in her family are black women with white men. Just going to let that sit for a minute. Let's continue.
But I wanted to get into the thinking behind this. We're stripping away from all romance. I'm not discrediting or dehumanizing anybody. It's a very provocative theory that I'm arguing that black women, white men pairing is more of a power couple and structurally sound than the inverse of black men, white woman. But we're going to take a look on the logic of American upward mobility, which I feel was really what I have always believed since I was a child. And I've always had this reasoning for it.
Well, somebody decided to fast forward through that because I guess they didn't want to sit through the whole thing. But the main point is this: you got a lot of women like this who decide to sit up there and say that the best relationships or the relationship goal for a black woman should be to be with white men or men of other races. So when I happen to basically speak and I say that there's tons of content out here where you have women like this who will sit up there and say that black women don't need black men and that black men are not needed. Black men are not relationship goals or marriage goals or all this is basically men of other races. This is exactly what I'm talking about. There's so and you don't really hear a lot of people bringing it up or talking about it. There's a lot of content directly out here where women like this, they got the face and the hair and everything of the sort, right? Look nice, look pretty. And they're the main ones regurgitating this exact same thing. But because she looks like this, it's palatable. People are accepting of it. There's not going to be a type of pushback. More women are going to go directly to it because of how she looks. They'll be like, oh, well, she's a great looking woman. She's beautiful. And obviously if black men are not attracted to her, then this is when you got women out here that'll internalize. They'll be like, well, if black men aren't attracted to her, then that means that they're not attracted to me, either, because we're both black women and da 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 and all this other stuff. This is where we start getting the problems, because far too many times you got women out here that want to internalize what it is that one woman is speaking on or saying, and they want to basically internalize it, and then basically for it to mean that that's all black women. That's representative of all black women in their situations, their relationships, and all this other type of stuff, and it's not. But this is also the same case where people want to sit up there and say believe all women, right? Because at no point in time should you try to critique or discredit, right, or have a conversation about what it is that a woman is basically stating, specifically, especially if it's a black woman, because if she says it, it's 1000% truth, and there's no reason for you to look anywhere else. So, like I said, for me, and I've stated this throughout a variety of live streams, a variety of videos, for me, I don't really care who it is that people date. Now, if something happens, hey, that's on you. that's directly. I don't got nothing to sit up and tell you. That is directly on you. Like I said, maybe in the past I would have a lot to sit up there and say. I would have a lot to, but now I'm a little bit more relaxed. I don't even really care. It's whatever. We fall down. There's no get up. It's just we fall down. It just it just be like that. It's like, hey, once you're down, you're down. It's be like that because people don't happen to learn lessons. Right. But like I said, I don't know what to sit up and tell people, man. I do not know what to sit up there and tell people. But like I said, I'm pretty sure, because I did try to go and look and try to find a video without the fast forward. And I could not for the life of me actually find that video. And I went through a page and I tried to find a video. Could not specifically find it. Maybe I was blind. Maybe it was just too many of the videos that roughly almost look the same. I'm not sure. But before the live stream, I did try to actually find the video so we can actually sit through and directly listen to it. If I happen to do a single form video directly of it, I'll just go back through and try to slow it down so that, and then put some text directly to it so that we can clearly interpret what it is that she's saying versus having somebody fast forward all the way directly through, which for me was stupid. Like I said, this whole thing is stupid on both angles. It is just, it's 1000% stupid on both angles, because I'm like, yeah, at the end of the day, if you are fine with dating people of other races, all right, cool, just be directly over there. You don't got to speak nothing about the black community. The same way that people who are in interracial relationships who say that they are happy, who really aren't, and they want to speak on the black community, that's how I feel about black conservatives. Black conservatives say that they're happy directly being on with the Republicans and being conservative, and everything is it's a gravy train directly over there. But for whatever reason, they still come directly back and start fixating and focusing on the black community. I'm like, y'all weird. All of y'all are weird. It makes no sense. Y'all say that y'all always happy where it is that y'all are, but it brings you right back to the black community and talking about the black community. For what? For what? Yo, this is just, man. I don't know. And like I said, the whole argument where you got women up here talking about, because it was the other woman I brought to y'all before, where she was sitting up here talking about black women are better off being with a white man. I'm like, okay. I'm not exactly sure where these stats are coming directly from, because there's a lot of white dudes out here that are multimillionaires and billionaires, And all of them are not trying to sit up there and run up through the black community and just snatch up black women. They're not doing that. They're primarily dealing within house. So they're dealing with women that are reflective of their mother, reflective of the women of their family, and making sure that that money stays directly within their community, because they know at the end of the day that that woman is going to go right back and she's going to marry another white guy, or those kids are going to marry somebody else that is white, therefore keeping that money directly within that community. But like I said, I don't know. Like I said, this whole thing is just it's just tiring, dude. It's tiring. It's very, very tiring. Very, very tiring. What was it? I think yo, Ben, what is up? You said am I surprised? Nah, I'm not surprised. I'm never, surprised, just tiring. Like I said, I've cooled down from yesteryear. It's like like I told you before, I'm working on consistently being a better person, every single day. Uh because probably at a point in time, if this was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I probably maybe would have raged out on this video technically. I probably would have, because I would have brought up other points that I was trying to make. And it's like it gets to the point I don't even try to make those points anymore. That's why I barely even, to an extent, sort of. Um, I don't really bring this up or even talk about this no more, because it's like it's gonna be whatever. Like I said, I done brought up umpteen times where uh, things of this sort, how she's trying to portray this, and it did not end that well for, black women. And I'm like, well, it'd be like that. I'm like, if you happen to put yourself in certain situations thinking that, you're smarter than the average bear, it'd be like that. But you can't tell nobody nothing. You'll want to, in a sense, inform people and try to tell them some stuff, but there's nothing that you can do, if people don't want to sit up there and listen. Nothing you can sit up and do. Wait, what did Tippy say? Tippy said, if black women dating white men, black women should get treated like queens, be submissive, and cook and clean for Brad, but it's not like that at all. I hear a lot of Brads calling them the word. Hey, it'd be like that. I mean, I've covered that as well too. Like I said, there's a lot of forums directly out here, but see, Tippy, this is the thing that you also got to look at as well, right? Let me get the troll directly about here, right? So the other thing that you got to look at as well, Tippy, is like I said before, amongst all of these conversations, like how people want to sit up there and always talk about like black dudes dating like white women and women of other races, and oh, that's embarrassing, and da 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 and all this other type of stuff. The real embarrassing factor is going on a lot of these forums and looking at black women, again, educated, businesses, all this other type of stuff. They're on these forums, on these varying websites where it's black women for white men only. Or what's the name? Or as they like to call it, black women for BWC. Black women for slave play or race play, right? Black women for age play. Like I said, there's a lot of different things directly out there. And it's black women out there seeking this type of stuff out. So for me, I can't really get too surprised. I'm not really, quote unquote, taken aback when I hear a black woman sit up there and talk about like, oh, I was called, my relationship a racial slur. I mean, you did that to yourself. I mean, I see y'all directly on these forums. I see y'all making these threads. I see y'all amping this up. Like I said, that's why I brought up the whole video with Chud the builder. Let me see if I can go to the comment section real quick for that video, because the craziest thing, right, is that I had somebody, they got mad at me because they were up there like, yo, it's crazy how you're trying to throw this directly on black women and rah 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 and all this other type of stuff. Let me see if I can get that person's comment real quick. Let me see if I can If I can find them. I wonder if they actually deleted it. I gotta go to the background. Let me see. Somebody said Jason Whitlock just made a post about Chud the Builder. Yeah, of course. I'm not too surprised. I'm not too surprised. I'm not too surprised. I'm trying to sit up there and see if I can get the comment. Then I had another woman up in there trying to say that black men are at fault for how Chud the Builder is moving. I'm like, no, we're not. It's like, yes, now y'all just talking crazy and weird. I'm like, yeah, that don't got nothing to do with us. That don't got nothing to do with us at all. Let me see if I can just so happen. I can't even find the what's the name I'm looking for either. Yeah, okay, that was the Ashley Gonzalez video. UK Africans, Indian gas station. Let me see. Trying to really find this video because the craziest part that was within that video when it dealt with Chud the Builder was the fact that I literally paired up another video where you had the young woman in there. Chud the Builder literally called them like a slur in a sense. And they just sat up there and responded. They were like laughing and hee and all this and kiki and all this other type of stuff. And I'm like, this is what we talking about. This dude literally called you something and you don't care. I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna go well. This is not gonna go well at all. Let me see. Sort by newest. I'm trying to go to. Let me see. Let me see if I can just type in response and get what I'm looking for because I might not be able to do it actually. Because I actually want to show y'all the full-fledged thread directly on that. Because like I said, it does not. Let me see, because black men are proven non-protection for the community, a lot of the ignorance. Da. Let me see, where's it? He's a peon. But yeah, if y'all know anything about the whole situation I'm talking about, let me know in the comment section. I'll probably get to it in a second. I'm sitting up here in the background looking through the comments on the channel real quick, trying to just fly by and find this real quick. You said it's not people, it's somebody else trying to correct me on some dumb stuff. Found her. There you go. Took a minute. Okay, so that was okay. That's why I couldn't find it. All right. So this was the person right here. So we're going to sit up here and take a look and read this real quick. Wait, is that the thread? Yeah. There we go. Right. So under one of the videos, right, she said the fact that you tried to flip this back on a female is some hoe-ish and is exactly what she's talking about. I said, you got it, coach. Anything else you want to say? She came back. She said, yeah, actually, I agree with her. And to conflate her talking about a certain part of our community and trying to equate that to her talking about black men as a whole is extremely disingenuous. Also, your name is extremely blasphemous. You're the second coming of what exactly? I mean, I didn't know that my name was religious. It's amazing how over the years, like people actually get mad over the name. It's like you don't got anything else to really get mad over. You look at the name, you automatically, oh my God, he thinks he's Jesus. He's crazy work, diabolical, right? And I didn't try to equate anything. I simply show the fact that while you're trying to speak directly on, black guys, or you want to sit up to say this, that, and the third. I'm like, I got 2 videos here. I actually got a third video where a black woman got out of a car. She was on the side of the road. She recognized him. She was like, yeah, you used to come to my house. You know, I used to sit up there and like feed you and this, that, and the third. She dapped him up. He literally said the slur directly in front of her face. He was like, yeah, you're for freedom of speech. And she was like, yeah, all the other type of stuff. Like I said, didn't shut him down. She didn't turn him away. She didn't denounce him. And that's the type of stuff that I be talking about. Like I said, from the gas station to the mall to even out there in the streets, the main ones that I've seen that have been side by side, idolizing this dude, pedestalizing this dude, and all this, I've been seeing them do this. But she ain't trying to talk about that though, right? Next, she said, I'm not surprised by this at all. Meaning the point that she brought up, it's something I've been talking about for years. Nipsey says something similar too. Ninjas always got smoke for ninjas that look like them, but no one else. And there's plenty of examples of this. Mexican Jews and others, white disrespect ninjas in the most egregious of ways. Nothing but let a ninja step on your Jordans. I don't even wear Jordans. On your Jordans though, or wear the wrong colors in your hood. I never even grew up in LA. Or throw up the wrong set. I never even grew up like that. And obviously, if it don't apply, let it fly. But you know exactly what I mean. Like I said in other comments, going to a pro, work to perfection. This is when you got to look at a lot of people in these comment sections. And by the way that they're even trying to address the situation and talk specifically to you, you know that chances are they're not even Black American. You're not even Black American. You sitting up here, you know, talking about somebody wearing like colors, throwing up gang signs. I'm like, bro, we're in like 2026 right now. I'm not sure what movies you're reflecting on from like the 2000s and the 90s and the 80s and whatnot, but that's realistically, technically, that's not exactly where we're at. You talking about some whole things like stepping on Jordans. That's old. And like I said, for me, because you wanted to preface that towards me, I've never owned a pair of Jordans. I've never grown up in an area, and this is coming from me, born and raised in Detroit. Never grown up in an area where it was like, hey, people throwing up gang signs. Hey, people, you know, wearing colors. Hey, you step on my shoes, you're about to sit up there and die tonight. Never grew up like that. Never grew up like that. So again, these examples are falling directly on deaf ears because they sound completely stupid to me. And again, it sounds very stereotypical. Because like I said, I know Black men right now that are alive, well and fine, with their health fully intact, with kids, and they've grown up in Black communities. And again, this is not even their experience. So, like I said, I'm highly confused by all of this. And the main point that I brought up earlier as well is the same thing that I said. I'm like, the weirdest part to me when it deals with the whole thing of Chud the Builder is how it is that people want to make this blanketed statement when it deals with Black men in general. And the main thing I specifically stated is that, yo, this dude is rolling up into places where he know that the police are automatically going to be there and respond, that he knows that there is a police presence, that he knows that if he needs to call 911, that they're going to automatically get there. He's going to be in areas that are multicultural, where it has everybody there. He's not going to the side of the way where the police don't even want to go. He's not going to those areas because everything that he got on him is not going to protect him. It's not going to protect him. Like I said, he's smart in where it is that he specifically goes. He's smart in the types of Black guys that he decides to go out there and antagonize, because there's areas that he can go to that he knows that if he wants a certain type of energy, he'll get it. But the problem is he going to survive? To sit up there and live to tell and to make that content and to be that martyr that he wants to be. Is he going to be able to do that? No, he won't. No, he won't. You got areas out there where dudes are literally sitting up there popping off at the police. If they sitting up there popping off at the police and the police don't even want to go there, and it's their job to deal with these situations, if the police don't want to sit up there and go there, what makes you think that Chud the Builder is going to go there? He ain't about to do it. He ain't going to sit up here and do it. He is not going to sit up there and do it. Like I said, he specifically chooses to deal with guys that he knows that, A, they know that they got something to lose. They not really trying to lose it. They're not trying to get, a record. They're not trying to end up in jail and prison. So those are the guys that I'm specifically going to mess with. I'm not going to mess with the dudes that's already been in prison, that's looking for a reason to go back to prison and jail. I'm not going to look and try to antagonize the dudes that already got 4 to 5 different bodies. I'm not going to go to the areas where the police and the government don't even want to go. I'm not going to go to those areas. Why am I going to risk my life on that? No. I'm going to go to these easy areas where I know that people actually care about their lives and their situations and they actually got something to lose. I'm going to go antagonize them because they got more to lose. And I know that my life is safe being around them versus being around the others. Like I said, that's crazy. That is diabolical. That is 100% diabolical. And again, like I said before, the main point that I brought up in that video was the fact that you got far too many women that are right on the left hand of those types of dudes. They are completely fine with sitting up there, chatting it up, talking directly with these dudes, conversing, getting socials and all this other type of stuff, being directly in a video. And I'm like, who's raising these girls out here? Who's raising them? And you want to sit up and get mad at them like, oh yeah, that's some bullshit. You trying to sit up there and flip this directly back on women. Who else am I supposed to point this towards? Because those young women and women in general are flocking directly to this dude when they should really be disgusted. And even he sat up there and said on his own stream, he was like, yeah, black women, yeah, they mess with me. Yeah, they love me. They support me. He said that. So I guess within in Joe the Builder sitting up there saying that, I guess that's Black Americans men fault too, that black women support him too, right? Come on. Like, that's crazy. That is diabolical. That is 100% diabolical, but it'd be like that. What, we're having a whole conversation about Jordans? What happened? That guy from Texas said, "What grown man is still wearing Jordans?" I mean, you got people. For me, I was just sitting up there saying I never grew up with wore Jordans. Number one, that wasn't allowed in my house, right? My mom was like, "Hey, we ain't about to be burying nobody. Ain't nobody about to be getting robbed for none of this stuff." So I didn't do it. Now I did have N1s though. Those were my shoes. I had N1s and I had Stephon Marbury. Those were the shoes that I basically wore. And I still love those shoes. If Stephon Marbury came back out with like newer versions of those shoes, I'd probably be in line to buy them. Technically, it wouldn't even actually be no line. You would just be able to just get them. Like I said, I'm all for affordable stuff. I never had no problem. And I wore those, and I remember I wore those with no care in the world. I was ecstatic. I was happy. Like I said, and I liked it due to the fact that there was a difference. Like if I walk through the hallway, and I could style them any way that I wanted to sit up there and do it, while everybody else is mostly fixated is like, yo, I gotta sit up there and like have these J's, matching with like the shirt and this headband and this, that, and the third. I didn't have to worry about like none of that. I could just style myself the way I wanted to. And I was good. Like I can't tell you how many times I'm like, yo, I would get irritated when I saw like 20 or 40 to 50 people walking around with like the same shoes. I'm like, dog, ain't that dull? I'm like, ain't that a bit boring? I'm like, everybody walking with the same. I'm like, come on. I'm like, you can't tell me you got an individual style when everybody walking around with the exact same shoes or trying to style it the exact same. I'm like, dog, this is looking boring right now. I'm like, everybody out here looking like a follower. I'm like, dog, do something different. Do something different. So like I said, I was happy. All of my stuff was completely different. I was good. I was all good. Tibby said I was thinking about getting some Jordans. But Tibby, this is different though, because you're a girl. You don't, and I'm talking about from the standpoint of like, anything happening or whatnot. If you wanted to go out there and get Jordans, it's completely cool. Like, ain't nobody trying to sit up there and like really, other than the rare extents that I've covered before, 9 times out of 10, nobody's trying to bother a woman for her shoes. So if a woman wanted to wear like a Nike tech suit, or she wanted to wear some J's or different, 9 times out of 10 ain't nothing happening to you, because everybody like, yo, I'm not about to sit up there and go after some woman who's wearing this. Like, what, like, how would that make me look? Now, if it's a dude wearing a Nike tech, if it's a dude wearing like some J's and some jewelry and stuff, yeah, people won't sit up there and go directly after that dude. So like I said, pretty much you safe. You good. If you want to sit up there and wear J's, you are okay. Ain't nothing about to sit up there and happen to you. You know, it's all good. It's all good. Somebody said what? Port Royal, you said, yeah, I don't care. You can be directly proud of yourself in the shadow realm too. That's how proud that you could, sit up there and be. It's crazy. Like I said, when a conversation is not even about people, this is when people want to pull up to the scene and make it about themselves. Ain't nothing about you at all. You are to the shadow realm. That's exactly what we're doing. That is, we're getting you, packing you right on up out of here. TP said Pumas. Yeah, Pumas are dope. I had a pair of Pumas at one point. It was like the lows. I really don't like lows. I don't like anything that comes below, the ankle. The ankle bone or whatnot. I really don't like that, because like I said, you need ankle support. You need something that's gonna, technically stabilize and lock some stuff directly in. Yeah. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that at all. But like I said, if you give me something that's like some mids and whatnot, yeah, I'm good. I can sit up there. I can rock with that. That's why even when they dealt with like Air Force Ones, it had to be something higher. I couldn't deal with like the lows. I didn't really like how the lows looked. They weren't really my style. That really wasn't the thing. No matter what the color was. I mean, some of the colors look dope. Like the different, like, yo, oh, man, I'm gonna have to make another live stream dealing with that. Like even Air Force Ones, like the culture behind that and the different styles that Black Americans did with that. Like I said, nobody else was doing that on the planet. Nobody was doing that on the planet before us. Like I said, the way that we were styling and dressing up Air Force Ones, man, that, like I said, that's why I like certain shoes over others. Like for me, if I had to take a pair of shoes, I would rather take Air Force Ones over Jordans, because Air Force Ones are way more customizable than any pair of Jordans. Like the way that you can dress up Air Force Ones and you can style those up and you can design them how you want them to fit, it's crazy. It's unlimited. Realistically, it is unlimited. With Jordans, it's a finite in a sense type of thing. It's like, all right, you may be able to do what was the old videos I used to watch where people would swap out the soles of the shoes. It's like they would pull out back when foam posits were like this big thing. Now don't nobody care about foam posits. But back during the point in time where foam posits were big, you had all of these videos about swapping the soles of the foam posits to different ones and all this other type of stuff and yada yada yada. Like, it's crazy work. Like I said, the effect of Black Americans on a lot of things is insane. It is insane. I'm a little bit confused. You said you got skinny calves and ankles. I'm built for speed, so I'm not even sure what that's even supposed to sit up there and reference. Let me, because people like just highlighting stuff. So what is that supposed to mean though? I was built for speed. I ran track, so yeah. So I'm like, I'm trying to figure out like what is that supposed to mean? And 9 times out of 10, the thing I notice, like whenever if there's guys out there that really want to talk about another guy's body type, normally these are the main ones that have a lot of weight directly to them every single time, which again is crazy, because I would think that technically wouldn't you be in like the conversations, different conversations. You said I mean low sneakers would look bad on you. Technically no, they wouldn't. They actually wouldn't. For me, style wise, I just don't like them. I've had lows before. That's what I clearly stated. Pumas are naturally lows. Those are the ones that I had, right? They were just like my track shoes, lows. So it's just like I don't know what to sit up there and tell you. And the track shoes that I set up there and had, yeah, no, those look great. Those look beautiful. I specifically picked the nice red and black ones, that they had on there, and I think I might have had I might have had either the red or the black teeth, directly on there. Like I said, I love those. I wish I still had them here so I could sit up there and show them off. But yeah, no, because like I said, in track you got to wear lows anyway, and that's exactly what it was. Now maybe during that time they might have had a different type, but all of us were pretty much wearing lows. It came right below the ankle. So yeah, that's not how that worked out. It's not how that worked out. But you tried it though. It'd be crazy. It'd be crazy out here. But it'd be like that though. It'd be like that. Tibby said, I want a pair of pink Jordans, maybe black and silver ones. I don't know. Probably get shoes from Walmart or Burlington. I don't do expensive shoes. I mean, if you go to Walmart or Burlington, you can probably find some Jordans on the shelf. But good luck on trying to, be selective on those colors though. That's gonna be tough. I don't know what to tell you on that. That guy from Texas said East Bay Magazine had it. Yeah. Yep, I remember that magazine. I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, guys, that is pretty much it. We've been going for almost about close to like 3 hours. It is now almost close to, well, actually, it's not even close to, it is 9 o'clock. So I'm going to let y'all have at it. I'm going to let this video basically sit for a minute because I did put up a video early in the morning. And then we got this live stream. So I'll let this sit here. People can happen to, look at it and whatnot or whatever. And a little bit later, probably during the morning hours, I'll probably put up a video directly for you guys, to watch. So you'll see it when you see it. Hopefully you happen to get the notifications. You probably won't because that's how YouTube has been working at this moment in time, not wanting to give people notifications and let them know, when things get posted or whatnot or whatever. So, it'd be like that. But anyways, much love, respect, and appreciation to all of the mods that pulled directly up, doing the Lord's work, both seen and unseen. Much love, respect, and appreciation. Got Ty. We got, I think, Hack pulled up. We got that guy from Texas directly up in here. We got Gail. We got Tippy. We got Pink. We got D Money. Technically would have Sham in here, but Sham has, she's getting her health directly together. So we got Lunch directly in the building. We got Third directly up in here. We got Sunny. Got the man Sunny up in here. Gotta give a nice shout out to Miss Shani Brown. Much love, respect, and appreciation. Trying to go back up and make sure. Yeah, I get everybody. I know we had Bushido in here earlier as well too. Let me see. I gotta scroll all the way back up. Who's that? Oh yeah, we got RY in the building. What is up? What else? Last but not least, oh yeah, we also got Christy. Gotta give a shout out again, Christy. We had Brandon V World as well too. See, that's pretty much it. Got everybody directly up in there. But yeah, y'all have a great day. Have a great rest of y'all night and whatnot. Catch up on some manga, some movies, some games. I'm about to sit up there and No Life, a little bit of Diablo to relax. Figure out what I'm going to sit up there and eat, stuff of that nature. So yeah, much love, respect, and appreciation. Thank y'all for coming out, and I'll catch you guys in the next live stream and or video. Peace out.